Warning. The following contains bright, flashing lights and /or imager that may cause discomfort and /or seizures for those with photosensitive epilepsy. Viewer discretion is advised.
So, we're finally here. This weird conversation we wanted to have for a while.
Yeah.
I have this weird memory of us, a weird one. It's from Portland. You and Ryan showed up to Portland to help me out with a class out there, and there was some riots going on. The Portland riots. Day 101 of the Portland riots.
Day 100. Yeah.
And after the class, all of you said, like, hey, Ed, what do you want to do? You want to go smoke some cigars somewhere? You want to go to a restaurant and just chill out? What do you want to do? And I was like, I want to go to see the riots.
Yeah.
And then we can go smoke after.
Yeah.
And I was expecting a different reaction from you guys, but all of you were, like, pretty down to go. So we went.
Yeah.
That was an eye-opening experience to see some of the ways that the U.S. handles domestic disputes of that nature. You know?
Yeah.
Like people down here in Mexico are not that kind to people like that, but it was interesting having you there for it, and walking around and kind of seeing you turn on some of that conversational social engineering aspect of you that is pretty interesting. We're going to talk about a little bit more about it as we go. But for people that don't know who you are and that weren't with us during those protests and might not hang around with us that much, you introduce yourself?
Yeah. I'm Vince Perez. I go by Way of the Loser. I've been hanging around with your group for coming up on 5 years now.
Yeah.
Maybe longer.
Yeah, just basically you come out, help out with some of the classes, and also you've been taking some of the instruction or abroad, basically.
Yeah, part of the cadre.
Yeah.
I do executive protection work now, which I love. I came from the Marines about 7 years ago. I got out. And, most recently we went to Ukraine. Thought Sneak Reaper had a place in Ukraine, and turns out we did.
Yeah.
Same courses, same work, a little bit of small changes here and there. But we did a lot of good work out there.
You, Vicente, should be a tell, you know?
What?
Vicente, the name
Yeah.
Vicente should be, that's not Vince, it's Vicente.
Yeah. Vince, Chente, Chen. To my family, it's Chen.
Mexican background.
Yeah.
What part of Mexico are your parents from?
Mom's from Mexico City. Dad's born in East LA. Yeah.
East LA it's people need to just fucking surrender. It's Mexico.
Yeah. I mean, all of California is Mexico. All the way up to the Bay now.
So your dad's from East LA. Your mom's from Mexico City, Chilanga.
Yeah, we come from a famous family of Mexican boxers, the Llanos family.
Oh, shit.
We go back, got a good record. Grandpa boxed. His two brothers boxed.
You box?
And, I tried.
It's
I
not.
I have very short arms.
Yeah.
Very short arms. I do jiu-jitsu. It's better for short people.
Yeah.
But I'll throw it down. I don't mind.
So your mom, your mom from Mexico City, your dad from East LA.
Yeah.
How are you coming to the picture?
They met. So Grandpa boxed, got enough money, brought his wife and his kids over, moved to California. And she met my dad. Dad was a bad boy, as they come, riding his motorcycle, drinking beer, smoking the whole nine, and fell in love with her cooking.
Yeah.
From there, they made a baby, and that was me.
What's your mom's dish? Chilanga dish.
Man, I love her albondigas. When she makes them old school. Now she's all healthy, man. It's rough.
No. You need to make them old school. Like when you say like albondigas, is it like the stew?
Yep. Yeah.
Albondigas with the
soup,
rice.
that's just great for days. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to get some
You
tortillas.
can put that on anything. Yeah.
You got some tortillas to soup it in there.
That's it.
Yeah, man, I miss
That's my favorite dish.
I miss my mom's albondigas too.
Yeah.
You know, that's like a staple of all kind of like Mexican mom meals. Even if it's a summer and it's hot outside.
Oh, no, anytime.
If it's like fucking burning outside, doesn't matter. You go inside, you're sweating, eating stew, fucking albondigas.
Yeah.
What part of California did you grow up in?
San Jose.
San Jose?
Yeah, born and raised in San Jose.
What's that like?
It was weird, man. Like, the more I go out and the more that I know that people know about the Bay Area, the more I see that San Jose is just a weird place. I grew up and it wasn't good to be Mexican, which is weird in a place called San Jose.
For people that don't know, the predominant when you were growing up, predominantly you were not in the majority.
No.
Back then, as a kid from two Mexican parents.
I stood out. My parents did reasonably well for themselves, so I lived in a nicer neighborhood. But it was weird because there was not a lot of Mexicans, and I went to I had trouble fitting in. I didn't speak very well. I kind of had weird.
When you say you didn't speak very well, you grew up with Spanish and English at your house?
I grew up with Spanish and English, but it was very important for me to speak very good English.
Yeah.
In fact, I went to speech therapy. My teachers had trouble understanding me.
Why was it important to you to speak clear English?
Because they thought it would be a leg down. They thought it would be a disservice if I spoke Spanish, which is so ironic now.
It's ironic, but also for me, I get a lot of hey, Ed, you speak very clear English. Why is that, right? There's theories out there from the fact that I'm not even Mexican to, I don't know. But for me, when I migrated, I didn't have such clear spoken English.
Yeah.
And I've been working on it because I don't want to be treated differently because of an accent or because I don't speak it clearly. So it was mostly that kind of attitude and thought process behind it. Which is, I don't know, Mexicans, we have this weird, I don't know, we tend to overdo it sometimes, Yeah. So was there some of that for you growing up?
There was a lot of that. So I didn't speak any Spanish growing up because I was focused so hard on English. And then as we got older, started realizing that Spanish was important. So I ended up going to Bolivia to relearn Spanish because I heard they got a really good Spanish. So it's weird because
Bolivian Spanish is like a textbook clear Spanish.
So proper.
It's so proper. It's it doesn't have the Castilian lisp to it.
No.
It doesn't have the slang.
No slang. It's so proper. So now I don't even fit it into the parts of Mexico I go to.
I get that.
Yeah. So I have a weird, Bay Area slangish, is what I call it, slangish. So I fit in a lot of places.
And would it be a point of contention for people? You're a little brown kid running around there?
Yeah, it was. it was it was hard being a coconut growing up.
Exactly. A coconut.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Brown on the outside, white on the inside.
Yeah, I've heard that one. Coconut.
Because there was Spanish culture in my family, but everywhere else, I had no Mexican friends. No Mexican friends.
Yeah.
It was Asian friends, white friends. That was it.
Yeah.
So it was weird. But even in my neighborhoods, my friends' neighborhoods, I didn't fit in. I would get pulled over walking by the cops when I was younger and questioned. No reason.
What are you doing here?
Yeah. What are you doing here? It's my day off. No, you should be in school, shouldn't you? No, it's not a school day. All sorts of questions.
What did that do to you?
I had a huge distrust.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
Defensive.
Yeah, and I didn't understand until I got older that I was like, oh, that was racial profiling. Yeah. I never even saw myself as Mexican.
Yeah, you didn't have words for it till later on.
Yeah,
the whole being treated differently and just being kind of unique in that way. It puts you at a disadvantage in a way mentally, I guess.
Yeah.
Having to be sure about everything you do to not stick out aspect of it. It definitely does something for somebody growing up like that. The security aspect of it,
Yeah.
So you grew up in San Jose, the only bean in the pot, basically, in the area.
Yeah. Which is ironic because it's San Jose. I didn't fit in with other Mexicans. A lot of the other Mexicans in the area, it seemed, were gang related.
So this is another aspect of Latin culture Mexican culture that I've been kind of learning about in the U.S. There's a big conversation about immigrants changing their attitudes as soon as they cross the border.
Yeah.
Some Mexicans assimilate, some Mexicans don't assimilate.
Yeah.
They don't get the memo. You know, they want to bring Tepito with them when they move. But some Mexicans move up there and want to get their kids out of the conditions that they grew up in, and they don't want them to get involved in gangs and certain aspects of that negative lifestyle.
Yeah.
So they kind of foster kids that, in a way, kind of get away from their traditional roots in a way because you're ostracizing and separating them from their culture. What's going on? You get some of that basically going on.
Yeah. There was a lot of that because it was anytime two Mexicans got together in San Jose, it was a gang at our age. Like that's how it was seen. I would walk a girl home from school some days because her brother was gang affiliated. And she was like, "Hey, can you walk me home? They might jump me." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll just get you home." Next day, I'd show up for school and get questioned. What were you doing hanging out with them? Who are you with? Got in a fight in the parking lot one day. A dude was pushing a girl around, and I stepped up, and just a regular old school fight. I gave him a headbutt, and he knocked me the fuck out. He was so much bigger than me. Everyone heard like that fight, and they're like, "Why him? He's twice your size." I was like, I thought I was doing what was right. Yeah. But they pulled me into the office right away, and they started questioning me. "Hey, who are you with? Let us see your ink." Like all this, and I'm like, "I ain't got no ink."
Who was questioning you at the office?
The police.
The police?
And he's like, "I know you're gang affiliated." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "You're wearing red shoes." I was wearing red Converse, man. Just red Converse. And that was enough for them to be like, "No, we know you're in a gang. We know this was a gang-related fight. If you don't tell us, you're suspended." And that was it. They suspended me for 5 days.
Interesting.
It was just weird, man. So it just became this weird, like, I better not hang out with Mexicans.
Probably not going to hang out with them. It's going to turn worse.
Yeah.
You, that's an interesting, growing up in San Jose like that.
Yeah.
What were you thinking about specifically? Were you thinking about a way out of that lifestyle, or what you want to grow up to be?
Yeah, well, I wanted to be a doctor. Like, I wanted to help people. I always thought that was like the
You wanted to be a doctor?
Yeah, I wanted to be a doctor.
That's a funny thing to want to grow up to be.
Yeah, and then...
What is it about doctor? Like, we've had a few people on, and a lot of them went into some wild shit as far as their lifestyle, including myself.
Yeah.
And we all started off with this notion or idea about being a doctor or trying to help people out that way.
Yeah, well, you grow up thinking that doctors are good people.
Yeah.
And
that's a respectable job. They earn well, and they're needed, you know?
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Like, why doctors?
I think they carry the badge of always being able to help.
I remember I remember my mom's reaction to me saying that I wanted to be a doctor, and I think that was a lot of it as well. Yeah. You know, oh, a doctor, that's better than any of the other bullshit that I guess it is out there.
Yeah, but then I realized, someone told me, well, you got to go to school for like 12 to 15 years to become a doctor. I was like, all right, and I joined the Marines.
Oh, okay. that dream didn't last that long.
Nah, that seemed like a lot of school.
It's a lot of school. Like the aspects of the Marines, where did that pop into your head?
I mean, they were always. So this was the other weird thing. The recruiters, knowing that they were coming, when they changed when they spoke to us at the high school, and they come in, they'd be like, "Oh, you guys think you're tough? You're probably part of a gang. You should join the biggest gang on earth, United States Marine Corps." And that was always like, well, why the Marines? And the Marines were always in their good uniforms, always looking clean. And
but they show up at school.
At school, yeah. They show up with their pull-up bar and do everything. And I was like, yeah, you want to be the baddest motherfucker? Join the Marines.
Was that the sales pitch?
That's pretty much it. I mean, I knew I wanted to. I didn't have a lot of direction. I hated school. Yeah. School gave me such a bad taste. I went to a pretty good high school, but they always do weird stuff. I love writing essays. I love studying. I love taking tests. I love doing it on my own. What I hated was okay, for this history project, it has to be an art project. You need to make a graph using 16 different colors to show. I'm like, I'll write an essay. I'll give a speech on it. I love that all day. I'm not here to do arts and crafts. Yeah. So I didn't have enough arts and crafts in one of my history projects, and they didn't pass me. Actually, I didn't graduate high school on time. I had to do summer school, and after that, I was like, I'm never going to school again. I joined the Marines.
What year did you join?
I joined in 2009.
It's 2009. What was the attitude or the ambiance around that time as far as joining the military?
It was rough, man. There wasn't a lot going on.
Yeah.
Right? It was near the end of everything.
It's at the tail end of Yeah. Yeah. So
I joined the Marines, did infantry, loved it.
Infantry.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a reasonably high ASVAB. I scored an 89.
Yeah.
And they're like, you can do anything. What do you want to do? I'll go infantry. You're an idiot. I know.
Yeah.
I know. But at least I know I'm an idiot.
Yeah. That's a good thing to recognize, I guess.
Yeah. I loved it. I was in trouble all the time, and it was great.
Is it the biggest gang on the planet?
That's a hard question. Yeah, it is. It feels like that.
I know a lot of Marines. For some reason, I'm cursed and blessed with having a lot of them in my life.
Yeah.
The type of military and or public service that we have in Mexico and the hazing that goes on down here is legendary.
Yeah.
Like fucking mutilation level shit,
Yeah.
or leaving somebody somewhere, and without anything. The only people that I can equate stuff like that to in the U.S. is usually members of the Marines.
I think that's the thing, but there's this weird mindset that comes with Marines.
What is it?
We can fight alone.
Yeah.
We can also fight with any other Marine.
Okay.
Like, as soon as Marines see each other,
Yeah.
there's that recognition of like, oh, I know this guy's going to have my back no matter what. And now we're a nightmare. We're a bad dream. You catch us one at a time. You catch two of us, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
You can drop... no, I don't think there's any other units, any other title that you can give someone that they can walk into a room together and know that they've got each other's back.
And for people that have never been through that experience themselves, like walking into recruitment, walking into first day of basic, like, is that, I mean, you said 2009. What was the ambiance as far as like them trying to like actually legit program you or change who you thought you were, that process of breaking you down?
It's weird, man. I don't feel like my experience in the Marines was similar to a lot, but I know that's what a lot of people probably say. There were a lot of young kids in boot camp, and there were kids who didn't understand that boot camp is a script. It's a really good script.
Oh yeah,
It'll draw you in.
Yeah,
and it's written for a very particular reason, but it's still a script. And if you're smart enough, you can figure out that script pretty quickly. Everything happens for a reason. Nothing's left up to chance.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so good. That's what makes them. Every Marine comes out very similar. Once you figure out that the one thing that the Marines can't control is time, you can get through it. You can do anything, right? If I tell you, like, hey, you got to hold this for 20 minutes, you can hold a good amount of weight for 20 minutes because like, 15 minutes left, 10 minutes left. But if I tell you got to hold this and you don't know, you can hold it maybe 10 minutes and drop it.
Yeah.
Right? Doing push-ups, planks, pull-ups, anything like that. If I tell you we got to run 2 miles, okay, I can run 2 miles. So that's boot camp. You got to do 3 months.
Yeah.
Can't stop time.
That's the mentality of people going through that. Like also like the motivations that people would join for. Yeah. I think that must add some sort of. I think you can guess who can make it through and who can't make it through depending on what they're there for, right? You
got to keep your eye on the finish line.
Individuality is not something rewarded there, I imagine.
It's not, but it's. I always say that like. I have family members who will be like, hey, Vince, you should become the CEO of a company. Marines make great CEOs. I'm like, no. There's some Marines that make great CEOs. Not every Marine is going to make a great CEO. I think whatever you are at your core, the Marine Corps brings that out of you. If you are a military man at heart, and you've got patriotism running through your brains and you're Captain America, Marine Corps will make you more Captain America. If you are a piece of shit and the Marine Corps breaks you down, all they're going to find is more shit, and you'll just become a bigger piece of shit if you make it through. If you're shiesty, you're going to become shiestier. You find a way to find these core aspects of yourself and use them. You always hear about, like, Marines, the Lance Corporal Underground. That's a big one. Well, what you don't hear about is the Corporal Cartel.
Okay.
There's another level of it. Once you get a little bit higher up, and no one talks about the Corporal Cartel, they make a lot of good stuff happen. The Lance Corporal Underground has the numbers. But I met a lot of minorities like myself in the Marine Corps that figure out little ways to make it work for themselves. And we have a way of working in that gray area, staying out of trouble.
What was the... in there, are you thinking about what you're going to do after?
I thought I was going to do 20. I thought I was a lifer.
That's your mindset in there. You're just going to be a lifer in there.
Yeah, I thought I was a lifer.
What did you like about it?
To
dedicate a life to be a lifer. You have to see something in there that you're really into.
I wanted to make a difference in the world.
And did you think it was going to be through the Marine Corps?
I did it first. I
I asked because this is like just legit curious.
Yeah.
What was it you were seeing that the Marine Corps was selling you or showing you that would make you think that that was going to make a difference in the world?
I thought being first on the ground, the Marine Corps is always tip of the spear, first on the ground, first to fight, all these great things. They're like, yeah, we'll go. And we'd get all the calls of like, hey, something's going over here, get ready. Nothing. Something's going over here, get ready. What I did love, though, was that the Marine Corps gave me a chance to work with a lot of men, boys turning into men, and being able to take care of them. I saw a lot of shitty leaders in the Marines who broke men, or boys, men that were on the route to be something more, getting broken down by bad leadership.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I wanted my guys to grow.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be more. And I love the Marine Corps for giving me the opportunity to work with men who went on to do great things and be great men. I miss that. That they just kept giving me, boys, you get out of boot camp, you got nothing.
Well, you have to think about it now culturally. Where do kids or young men get to join other young men as they go through the process of turning into men?
Yeah.
Where, like playing Fortnite?
Right. Yeah. College.
College, maybe. College where they can't say certain words in certain places.
Yeah.
You know? It's an interesting aspect of the whole amputation of that. Men being men and figuring shit out in that type of setting is right now. I don't in the United States. Where is it available? The Marine Corps, which is to join and give your life to that.
Yeah.
It's an interesting aspect of what is missing and what you don't see a lot in people now.
Yeah.
You know? I imagine recruitment is probably pretty down right now.
I heard they've been recruiting off like TikTok and Instagram and even video games.
Yeah, and people are. I mean, the pool of people that are eligible just physically for it is
standards are changing.
Standards are changing.
And they shouldn't.
So you have this idea of changing things positively.
Well, I would tell my Marines because they'd be like, I'm like, you got a sphere of influence. If you want to change something, you want to influence something, you got a sphere of influence. How big is your sphere of influence? And they'd be like, I don't know, Sergeant Perez. They're like, stick your arms out. Spin around in a circle. Look like a fucking helicopter. Stick your hands up and stick them down. That's your sphere of influence. Whatever you can touch is your sphere of influence. If you want to change something, you need to be close enough to touch it. It's the only way you actually affect change. I wasn't a yeller. That was something that some of the Marine leaders, you never yell, Perez. I didn't believe in it. I don't think it's useful. You know, if I'm yelling, people are dying. The only good reason to yell, right? Otherwise, if we got a problem, we got something going on, come over, whisper it in my ear. Come talk to me. Yeah. Let's figure this out. We're men. I want to train them. I want to raise my Marines to be good men. It wasn't enough to be good Marines. There's a next level to that. And it was like, when you die and they put it on your gravestone, what do you want to be known for? Oh, he was a good soldier. He was a good Marine. He was a good man. He was a good father. A good husband.
That leadership style, was it something you learned by somebody watching somebody else?
My father. I had a really good father. He always asked a lot of questions, and there was no doubt in anyone's mind that he was a good man. Yeah. I wanted to live like that.
Quiet correction.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't a yeller. Yeah. He just showed me.
I remember somebody that one of my first team leaders pulled me aside and corrected me. Yeah. And it fucking hurt more than if he were to have screamed in front of me. And correction always in private is what he said. We used to say, and I remember I took that as a lesson later on when I had people underneath me that I need to kind of manage. Yeah.
And I read a lot. Books are amazing forms of leadership in there. Books and movies.
And movies.
I would pick. I grew up watching movies.
What was your go-to book as far as leadership?
You ever read Ender's Game?
Yeah, I've actually read Ender's Game. Yes.
So Ender's Game is good.
Not the movie.
But there's a follow-along series called Ender's Shadow.
Okay.
Ender's Shadow is about one of Ender's friends, and it's a parallel novel named Bean.
Okay.
Bean is a super interesting character, and he is a great leader. He has like a 5-story arc that he worked very well with men, and he He had rules when it came to leading men and picking which missions he went on and which ones he didn't. He never took a mission if he thought he might lose somebody. And he needed his men to trust him without anything else. And how do you build that trust? You talk to them, you communicate with them, and you treat them like men. I never understood treating someone under you like anything less than what they are.
Yeah.
As a man. What do you want? What are you raising? Are you raising dogs? Are you raising pigs? Are you raising cattle?
Well, that's the thing.
You raising men.
That's the thing. Some people do have the aspect of the, in certain military, in training circles that you are raising dogs of war, right? Like I was put through that myself, and I was treated like an animal because that's what they wanted. They wanted fucking animals. But the humanizing people in that way. It's a double-edged sword, specifically in some of those groups of people where there's different styles and people that believe different things.
Yeah.
It's never easy being in a leadership position when you have a style like that.
Yeah.
You have this career in your mind, 20 years, lifer career there. What changes as you go through that experience to make you think about other stuff?
Yeah, what changes all, man. I thought I was in love.
Oh no!
I met I know.
Oh no!
I met a woman, and I thought it came down to.
How old were you?
Oh man, I mean, I met her when I was 19.
Oh this is wrong. All of it's bad.
Got married.
Red flags.
Got married young. Same story as all the Marines.
Oh,
got married young. And then right around that time when they're like, well, you can sign up for another 5, things were on the rocks. And I was like, do I want to be known for being a good Marine? Do I want to be known for being a good husband? Do I choose my career? Do I choose love? I always over-romanticize everything.
What was her influence?
She was already checked out. It was my decision.
She was gone.
She was already checked out.
She was gone.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what?
When you say she was gone, was she just detached?
She was detached. Yeah, she was doing her thing.
And in your mind, you're like, I'm gonna leave this for you, and all the shit I'm gonna do.
In my mind, like,
figure it out. I'm gonna fix everything by just leaving this dream behind.
I knew if I stayed, I had 0 chance.
Of what?
Of fixing my marriage. And I knew and in my mind, if I left, then I had a small chance
of saving it.
I don't need easy. I just need possible. I'm like, there's no way if I stay in, it'll work.
Yeah.
But there's a chance if I get out, it will. Yeah. And I fought so hard because I know for me, like getting married, like you make a vow. Yeah. Not just to the other person, but to yourself.
Oh, but I ask you this because you're probably taking some of the influence that you learned from your parents. So you're not going to fucking give up.
Yeah. Right? No, we stick with it.
You stick with it.
Yeah, the Marines, my parents, whoever. Like the whole thing was like, you don't give up.
Yeah.
If there's still a chance you might succeed, you go for that chance.
But you didn't think like that.
Yeah, it takes 2 to tango, right?
Yeah, that's I mean, the lessons learned, dude.
Yeah.
Lessons learned.
And that's the thing. Like, the big thing for me is I stay true to myself.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of man did I want to be? I want to be the man that follows his heart. And that's what I did. I followed my heart, and it fucked me up. It was wrong. The heart was wrong.
You say, you know what, I can't be a lifer. I'm gonna try and save this thing.
Yeah.
This is how it's supposed to be done. This is how I learned from my parents to fight for shit.
Yeah.
And I made a vow.
Yeah. Even if she doesn't keep her vows, I can keep mine.
And you got out.
Yeah.
What'd you do? What did you do getting out?
I was so fucking lost when I got out.
Like, I mean, for me, I've experienced a regimented life.
Yeah.
I've experienced a regimented life, bitching about it while you're inside, and then being out of it and just like suffering that there's no structure to anything.
Bro, I got out and I was sleeping on the couch because I couldn't sleep on the bed. I didn't think I was worth a fucking bed anymore. I moved back into my parents' place because I had no plan.
Yeah.
Like, I just I'll get out, I'll figure it out. I ended up walking dogs for like a year. I was a rover, like walking people's dogs.
How old were you when you were walking dogs?
25.
You're 25-year-old walking out of the Marines, trying to you were running around, fucking being a leader, and all this shit, and all of a sudden you're just walking dogs.
Well, you get out, you move back home, and you realize no one really fucking cares.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit about it. You're not wearing your experience. So there's no way nobody would know.
Yeah.
Is that the reason why a lot of people that get out of the military have all this regalia on them, so people know?
I think so.
So that people can get some recognition?
I think it is. I get this a lot where I meet people and then they find out I'm a Marine and they're like, oh, you carry yourself well, but we had no idea you were a Marine.
You don't wear it.
Right? And,
Because you don't wear it.
Yeah, and I talk back, and they're like, oh, well, my brother's a Marine, and he like, first thing, how do you know someone's a Marine? They'll tell you.
They'll tell you.
Know? But I tell people, I'm like, look, I like to think that a lot of people get out and they let their time in the Marine Corps define them.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
like,
I'm a Marine veteran, or like and they wear the regalia, the hat, they wear the I don't know, they put the stuff on their backpack.
Yeah, the flag and everything else. And
it's for me, it's curious.
So for me, I like to think that I define the Marine Corps by my time in. I made the Marine Corps a better place while I was there. I did the work in the Marine Corps for the years I was in, was a stronger Marine Corps. And now I'm out, and the Marine Corps doesn't remember me, and I don't remember the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
It's over.
Okay.
That chapter is over. I don't want to die thinking that being a U.S. Marine was the best thing I ever did in my life. There's more. I want to be known for more.
Yeah.
That chapter was a leg up. It helped. But there's going to be more that I do in my life than just be a Marine.
Yeah. But that you can say that now, but you're a walking dog. Right?
I was walking dogs.
You're walking dogs trying to figure shit out.
And picking up other people's dog shit.
Well, I mean, it's work.
Yeah, and I didn't have to deal with people. That was the thing. I was peopled out.
Yeah, you were just fucking walking around with the, fucking angels in disguise in the form of dogs walking around.
I got the police called on me a couple times. I ended up being 25-year-old dog walker is better than being an 18-year-old dog walker to people. So I got like good jobs, good rich dogs that were eating and working better than I was. And police would get called on. I show up on my Harley to people's houses, nice houses, and get the cops called, guns pulled on me. And people, it's my dog walker, leave him alone. I'll be like, sorry, guys, just trying to do my job.
How long is this process of you getting out of what you said about why didn't you think you were worthy of the bed?
It's the thing, man. Like, bed is such a comfort. Anyone who hasn't slept on a bed for a long period of time, it's such a comfort. And sometimes we get scared of being comfortable, especially when we've been living so uncomfortably, and we think we don't deserve it. I didn't think I deserved to be comfortable.
We've crashed in multiple bodies in hotel rooms across the country a few times.
Yeah,
and I like taking the floor.
Yeah, you do.
And people ask me if it's for security reasons or if it's some sort of trauma of some sort. It's legit that I never considered myself as somebody that deserves the bed.
Yeah.
So I just fucking sleep on the ground.
I get that, man.
That's it. I don't know. I'm working through it myself.
I was scared of the bedroom. Like, that's what it was. Like, it's supposed to be such a sign. It kept telling me I failed.
Yeah.
I failed as a Marine. At the time, I thought I had failed as a Marine because I gave up. I left. And then I felt like I failed as a husband because I lost my marriage. Yeah. And it just...
It's a cascading effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. That failure aspect. I mean, for people who've never had a marriage fail.
Yeah.
'Cause I have. Yeah. I was in that relationship and I was like putting in some effort and trying to figure out how to save something that was on the other end not savable. And it was like, and that aspect to men, and specifically men that have grown up in a household where there's the mother and the father. Yeah. And they have seen them survive shit that is beyond any of the stuff that you've just experienced with your significant other. Yeah. There's a weird sadness in that for men like us, where you're just like, oh shit, like this is what I'm supposed to save everything, and all of a sudden it's gone. Yeah. And you're also dog walking.
Well, it's this idea, right? That like, if I work hard enough, I can do anything.
I'll deserve it, and I will be rewarded.
Yeah, if I can work hard enough, it'll work out, and then it doesn't. Yeah. Sometimes life sucks, and then you just keep living.
Well, this is the reality of being a dude.
Yeah.
We are loved conditionally.
Yeah.
is the whole fucking tag there.
Yeah.
Undeserving of a bed, dog walking, getting cops called on you.
Yeah.
What's your plan? 25.
You know, I
Failed marriage, man. You're just this is castaway shit. Like, what do you do now?
You know, I was just a lost soul walking around, and people started finding me. I found a security company sought me out and brought me in, and I just started working night shifts. Started working.
What were they looking specifically at you for?
Just you're a veteran.
Is that aspect of you being a veteran and being a veteran in general in the U.S. like something that it
Work
means
security.
that you at least can take direction, and you don't and you're not
Show up on time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was working a night shift at it was at the time when all the new marijuana pop-ups needed security on site 24/7.
Okay.
That was becoming big in the Bay Area right around 2015. So I worked at a lot of weed clubs. I don't smoke weed, man.
Yeah.
I never have. It's not really my thing. And I would get massive headaches because I had no
tolerance.
no
to that
tolerance.
shit.
So just being around it just messed me up.
Yeah.
So on top of that, I would get home and fall asleep on my couch feeling like shit. But eventually I stuck with it and I became operations manager for this small company just because I wasn't an idiot and I didn't have anything else. So
you had a little bit of formation through the United States Marine Corps. And
my shit was just listing into whatever port it hit.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm here now.
Yeah.
And eventually, I started going to therapy. That was the big thing.
Therapy.
I know.
Dude, no, that sucks. I don't want to go and fucking talk to anybody about my shit that's going on. That's,
Right?
That's weak shit.
I have one dude just
I'm not
staring at me
crazy.
from across the room for
I don't
an
want
hour.
people to think I'm a fucking insane person. Why would I go to therapy?
Therapy was one of the best things, man. I know.
What brought you to the decision? You know what? I'm going to go talk to somebody with about my problem. Was it like something you came up with, or did somebody just say,
No, it was.
you should probably fucking...
I mean, I've had lots of people tell me I need
Was there an
therapy.
intervention of some sort?
Yeah, no, I had lots of people. I tried therapy before, but it was like, I'm not getting to a point where I've done everything that I think I can do.
Yeah.
So someone else must have an idea of like,
Well, that's the thing when you get into a life crisis like that,
Yeah.
where, like, for me it was, I'm going to not drink anymore, and that's going to solve everything. It did not.
Yeah, it doesn't.
made everything worse. I'm going to exercise and be healthier and eat healthier. That's probably going to make me feel okay, right? That's what all these guys online say. And then you're like, hey, shit, I still feel kind of sad. Like, what's going on?
yeah, I need a better blueprint.
I think a big thing for a lot of people that want to approach therapy in any way, shape, or form is that we immediately judge the therapist in front of us. You're like, what are you going to know about my bullshit?
Yeah.
You know, what would you know? You know, because I don't know, we come from a culture that measures in that way. And also as men, we have a social violent component to some of our personalities. We won't open up to somebody that, I don't know. Like, for me, it was like a weird mental block that I couldn't open up with somebody that I knew wouldn't have my back in a fight or some shit like that,
See, I was the opposite.
Were you?
I've been around hard men my whole life, That's how we grew up. That's all we knew. Hard men. Being a harder man wasn't the answer. So I specifically, because some of my friends are therapists, and I'm like, I need a therapist. Find me someone. Like, help me find the right guy. And they're like, well, what do you need? And I was like, I don't want a military therapist. I don't want someone military in their background. I don't want someone who's like, I specialize in combat vets and PTSD and all this. I don't want that.
You don't want anything.
I want a civilian. Because I want to be a better civilian. Find me a good man.
Yeah.
That I can talk to on a regular basis. Because my big thing was like, is this normal? That's the big one. Is what I'm thinking normal?
Yeah.
If I want to be a good human being, if I want to be a good man, being a Marine can be part of that, but it can't be the main aspect. So I found a dude, and thank God, I had the most amazing therapist. I needed this guy, and he realized that I filter a lot of my experiences through movies.
Okay.
So a lot of times when things happen, our mind immediately goes into, where did I see this before and what did I do last time? If we hadn't seen it before, where have I seen this period?
Yeah.
And so a lot of it comes down to movies. So thank God my therapist looked like Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
And he picked up on that because we
Yeah.
talked about it. I was like, why? I'm filtering this experience through Good Will Hunting.
This is the file folder that I have that's similar to this experience right
Yeah.
now. So this is what I'm going to use.
And it's like
base it.
what I think a therapist could look like. And because of that, I feel comfortable and I can talk to. So he would dress up a little. Like he started wearing more sweaters.
Yeah.
And I was like,
let's wear some sweaters and
this helps. And he's like, what do you want? I was like, I want to be a good man. All right. And we defined that. And we got there. And he realized that
What's your definition of a good man?
I came up with a small. Everywhere I go, everyone is safer because I am there.
You're an asset.
Everywhere I go, anyone in need has a friend. And every time I go home, everyone is happy I am there. That's it. 3 rules.
That's a pretty good definition of a.
That's it. 3 rules. Wherever I go, everyone is safer.
Yeah.
If there's danger, I'll help. If someone's hurt, I'll help. Anyone in need has a friend. It's rough being lonely, man. We've all been there.
Oh yeah, it's very lonely to be that way.
And we meet a lot of lonely guys. And I wanted to be able to always be a friend. That's always how can I be a friend to this person?
Yeah.
I'm not one of the guys that walk into a room and sees threats. I walk into this room and see how can I make these guys like me and be my friend? Not in a like, oh, like me,
Yeah.
but like I want everyone here to like me so that when they remember, they're like, hey, Vince was a good guy.
Yeah.
You can talk to him. He's not an asshole, even though a lot of people, they see me and they're like, that guy's an asshole.
That guy's an asshole.
And that's okay. I can't change the way I look.
Yeah.
But I can control the way I act.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't control the intro, but the outro is all you.
And then the big thing is every time I go home, everyone's happy. My family's happy when I'm home. My friends are happy that I'm going home. And they see that and they're like, oh, Vince is home. Good.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy. I am there.
That's a good definition. Therapy. It's not a lot of people like talking about that shit, and it's a thing that it's kind of. I see a lot of people struggling with stuff. I have talked about some of my own issues openly, which has led for me to receive a lot of people asking questions about that type of stuff, and I'm not a therapist.
Yeah.
But like for you defined what a good man was. You basically went to therapy to point towards a direction of where you wanted to go.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
What were the obstacles to get there?
It's all myself. Yeah, I had all these other ideas of who Vince was going to be.
Yeah.
I was going to be a writer. I was going to be this. I was going to do this. And I had to put those to sleep. I had to put them to bed and be like, okay, it's no longer this. I need one. I felt I was a triangle getting pulled in all sorts of directions. How people saw me, who I was, and who I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem was that people saw me a certain way, and I was trying to be that to them,
Yeah.
to all these people who saw me. And then I was trying to be who I was. And then there was who I actually was. And my therapist had these 3 triangles, and they was showing me pulled in all directions. And it was bringing it close together so that it was a small triangle, and there was only one Vince. That I could be who I wanted to be, who I actually was, and how people saw me, all one. That all needed to be the same Vince.
Yeah.
And once that clicked into place, it was right when you met me. Or it was right when you helped me come up with, we were in that hotel room, and you're like, you need a name. Who are you going to be?
Yeah. You need a tagline,
And
a moniker.
we came up with Way of the Loser.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That was it. Way of the Loser was born there. That helped click everything into place. And I was like, it's here. This is who I am.
This aspect of trying to figure out who you are specifically in the public eye. For me, it's been people know me for different reasons, right?
Yeah.
Some people know me for my memes. I have a lot of people that are really fans of those horrible videos that I post up every now and then. Some people know me for some of the interviews that I've had. Some people who trained with me. Some people have been following me since I was active in Mexico, and they would see some of the weird shit that I would post up. So everybody has a really weird, different aspect of me, which is weird for some of us. Trying to figure out what of that is me and what of that is something that is completely not me. The coming up with the name Way of the Loser.
Yeah.
Which is it's an interesting name. For me, I mean, it was Ed's Manifesto, and it has different meanings for different people. But realistically, it is NSW guy making fun of the fact that I was always writing handwritten notes on my little notepad. It's like, what are you writing in your little manifesto?
Yeah.
Right. It's also the fact that has allowed me to manifest change for people. Either people going through sobriety right now. There's a bunch of people going through sobriety, kind of following along with me, kind of celebrating that aspect of it. To people starting their own businesses through things that I've helped them out with. Through people getting over shit, which is a big aspect of it. Just getting over trauma, I think, is at the core of a lot of the stuff that I put out. And you came up with Way of the Loser as yours. Can you explain what that name is to you and like why Way of the Loser?
Of course, man. I mean, just like anything, there's always layers to it.
Yeah.
But I was tired of always seeing alpha this and alpha that. And all I do is win. Shit. All I do is win. Everywhere I go, I'm the best.
Wake up at 2 a.m.
I can't do that, dude. I can't
roll this weight around. No, none of that.
I needed a place for
extreme.
I needed a place for everyone else, for what I actually felt like, which 90% of the time I feel like a loser.
Yeah,
and that's okay, because I think I'm a product of my losses. I grow through loss.
Yeah.
Every time I won a jiu-jitsu match, it's cool. Like I win, and it's like, oh yeah,
it's endorphins.
That armbar worked.
But there's no growth though.
Every time I lose, I can't eat. I can't sleep. I'm online. I'm research. How do I not lose like that again? I am only better at jiu-jitsu because I've lost hundreds of times. I never back down. I'm just like, let's keep going. Let's fight. Let's go until I lose again.
The physical investment in loss.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's what I loved about your courses. We pushed people to the point of failure. Yeah. There's no like, oh, good job. Here's your welcome trophy. It's like, you're going to suck.
Yeah, it's going to suck. You're going to change. But enlightenment is a destructive process.
Yeah.
It's not about being better or feeling good or shit like that. No.
I hated people being dismissive of losing. Like, I can't lose. That competitive mindset, it's a disservice to yourself. And then on top of that, there's another level to it of losing the things that don't matter.
Yeah.
Losing that ego. Losing the bad thoughts. Losing all those things until there's nothing left except yourself. And that at my core is very important.
A lot of people are afraid of death.
Yeah.
Like I know for a fact that there's worse things out there than death.
Yeah.
But people don't want to fail or freak out with the aspect of failure. Or right now, culturally, I think in the U.S. we have this whole aspect of right and left politics. And you'll see on the left participation trophies, and on the right you'll see or you win or you die, which are both extremes. Yeah. They're both extremes. And we have, people on the left and the right. We have people that will give participation trophies and everybody's a first place winner. And on the right we have people that wake up at 2 a.m. and run for like 4 days and crush everything. And if you can't do that, you are losing.
I am not one of those guys.
You should die.
Yeah.
Extremes.
Yeah.
These are two extremes. Buddha would talk about a middle ground or a middle road.
Yeah.
Basically finding a place where it balances both of these things, asceticism and just fucking letting everything hang out, basically. But Way of the Loser. What is the Way of the Loser?
Let it go.
Let it go.
Lose it all.
Lose it all.
Lose it all.
Lose it all. When you say lose it all, I mean, in a vision, being afraid to figure things out for yourself.
Anything holding you back.
I don't want to go into jiu-jitsu competition because I don't want to lose.
Right. Or like, I gotta do this first. Let that go too. Just go with whatever you got. I could win this fight if I had my knife, or if I had my gun, or if I had this, then I could lose that too. Lose those thoughts.
If I see something and I dismiss it immediately as something that I don't want to do, I'll see this with shooters. I don't like I don't like doing competition shooting because that's not how I would fight.
Yeah.
No, you don't like doing that because you're gonna lose and you don't want to lose, and they're gonna be pushed and people are gonna test you, and you don't like that.
No.
Because you don't want to die on a training field.
You're afraid your ego is gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
Just go. Try new things. Even if you're gonna be bad at it, you never know when you might find that thing.
Yeah.
That works for you, or cool, or it works with something else. Go and lose. It's okay to go out into the world and be a loser.
In my kind of like journey, I am about experience.
Yeah.
So people every now and then come at me and they try and figure out what I'm into. Like, what are you into? Are you into cars? Are you into this? Are you into that? Yeah. And like for me, I would have this moment where I was in Detroit, and they were like, "Hey, you want to go out to eat somewhere? Like, there's some gentrified parts of Detroit now. There's some pretty interesting places to go eat there." I was like, "No, I want to do a ride along. I want to go and see what Detroit is like at night in the bad parts."
Yeah.
Like, why? Why would you want to do that? Because I'm gonna have that experience, and I'm gonna take that experience with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And that meal is gonna be probably nice, and we are gonna talk about some shit. It's probably gonna cool memory. But the experience of the fact that I just went through this night with you guys out here, I think that is more valuable than anything. But what if something happens? Then it's gonna be a very cool story later on, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, people don't want to risk.
Yeah.
Which is, and when I say people don't want to risk, it's not like a theory. I mean, you saw what happened during COVID, and everybody was wearing masks. That don't work, you know.
Yeah.
There's the fear of just can't risk anything.
Yeah.
Fuck it, let's cover up.
Yeah.
So way of the loser is risking it, letting go of the ego,
Just go.
and just go.
Just go. Well, the first rule of chess: you only get smarter by playing a smarter opponent. You want to get better at something, you're gonna have to lose. You're gonna have to suck it at first. I'm not natural at anything.
Yeah.
I have to work my ass off.
Yeah.
But I have to go. So I seek out people who are better than me. If it's the whole thing of like, if you're the best person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
I want to be the worst person in the room. I want everyone to be smarter than me. If I'm trying to learn a new skill, I want everyone that I go up against to know all the tricks I don't know.
You have a tendency to, like, and I've seen you, like, even, like, I remember we did this class somewhere, I think it was Connecticut, and you not only went around to see what other people were doing, but, you know, also were looking at how other people failed, you know, which is another aspect of living that way. You can laugh at the dude slipping on the banana peel in front of you, but if you're sleeping on the same one, then you should, you know, reconsider your life choices or how you kind of go about the world.
The only thing better than first-hand experience is second-hand experience.
Yeah.
I don't have to experience everything. I can't experience everything.
But how can you experience things secondhand if the people around you are not
Talk to
experiencing
people,
shit? Yeah.
read about it, seek it out.
The social engineering aspect of some of the stuff you do, and conversational stuff, and being there for people. What part of that is in there for the way of the loser?
It's hard to say, man. The reason why on my design I went with the cowboy. The lone cowboy just walks into town with nothing.
A nameless cowboy with a poncho.
Yeah. It's how I love walking into new places.
As a stranger.
Yeah. You don't need to carry
Blank
anything.
slate.
Yeah. If you can blend in, places have a way of taking care of people who take care of it.
Yeah, the world's a very friendly place if you're smart enough to talk to it.
Yeah. So many places that are locals only and this. How do you become a local?
Yeah.
Talk to locals. Do what locals do. Watch them. Blend in. The more you blend in, the better it gets. I don't know anything about sports. The sports are big. So the first person I talk to, I go in knowing nothing. And they'll be like, oh, that last game, that new QB is kind of crappy. He threw bad in the third quarter. The next person I talk to, hey, what do you think of that new QB? Throws kind of crappy in the third quarter. I'll be like, when he played with this team. And then I take that, I put it in my pocket, and I go. I keep having a conversation with more people until I can go into any sports bar for that week and have a good conversation and sound like I know sports.
Yeah. But, you know, no, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I want to be left alone.
I want everyone to know.
I want everyone
I'm the
to know.
sheepdog.
And when the sheepdog, you know, or look at me.
Yeah.
I'm the alpha. This word alpha, which is something I hear a lot in the U.S. Like I've never understood the concept of it differently. You know, down here for leadership, we would have to cook a meal for all of our men, or else we wouldn't pass a leadership exam. Like alpha down here, where it means it's a different thing. It's more about service and sacrifice, basically.
Yeah, well, that's how you get people to trust you.
Yeah, like this motherfucker can do everything we do, and he's staying longer.
Yeah.
So now you have authority. That's what gives you authority.
Yeah.
You know, but you go through this journey trying to figure yourself out. You start getting involved in security work.
Yep.
We meet out there in a weird fucking training engagement somewhere. We brainstorm. You come up with this moniker that you're kind of trying to figure out.
Yeah.
EP.
Yeah. It's weird, man. I fell into EP. Like I literally tripped and fell into EP. I applied on LinkedIn to a job.
Just through LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Let's figure LinkedIn out.
Bro, I was so unqualified. When
you say you're so unqualified, what did you expect that they were looking for? Like,
they said they wanted 5 years experience doing EP work, all these things. So when they called me up, they're like, "Hey, we want to do an interview with you." I was like,
"Are you sure?
Do you have my resume in front of you?"
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a mistake.
You see that I don't have any EP experience, and they're like, "That's exactly what we want."
Okay.
We're tired of EP guys coming in being like, "I know the best way to do things. I know this, I know that." They're like, "We want to bring someone new in who is ready to learn exactly how we do it, and we'll do it our way without asking dumb questions."
Without trying to put forth their way of doing things to something that's already established.
Right. And I was like, "No, I'm here to learn." So I interviewed. The big interview question that they came up and they asked, they're like, "When have you been in a violent situation? How did you respond?" And I talked to them. It's a long story, but I basically talked about a dude who was having a bad day, wanted to kill me and do all this bad thing while I was working security in downtown Palo Alto. He wanted to fight. And, said he had a gun and all this stuff. And I was like, "Hey, you're having a bad day. You mind if I sit down?" Because he was sitting on the edge of a truck bed. And he's like, "What?" Like, "Can I sit? I got all this body armor on. Like, we got to wait for the police to show up anyway. You mind if I sit? I already called the police." And then he's like, "Yeah." So I sat down, and as soon as I sat down, he started crying.
Yeah.
His wife left, took the kids. He had nothing, and he just was having a bad fucking night. And I was like, "Dude, who can we call? Who can we come get you? If you're gone before the police get here, you're never
gone."
here."
Yeah.
And so we did. He gave me his phone. I called his brother. "Come right now." He was there in 5 minutes. Picked him up, took him home.
De-escalation.
I kept my word. Yeah, de-escalation. I kept my word. He was my best friend. Any night I was working, I had no trouble. He would come out. He was a leader in the area.
Yeah.
"Hey, don't fuck with the security guard. He's just doing his job. Go back inside." All this good stuff. Because people try to fight me.
That was a hard question that they asked.
Dude, the dude, his chin dropped open. The guy interviewing me. And he was like, What? And I was like, "The end." And he's like, "Bro, I've done this interview question 100 times.
And it's always like G.I. Joe, the Rise of
Everyone
Cobra.
gives me war stories, kicking in doors." And doing this, I was like, "Well, what are you paying me for?" Because I got those stories too. But
Yeah.
I don't think you're paying me to be a violent person.
No, I mean, if you're an EP, a professional is somebody that arrives home and nothing happened, and nobody you don't need to be thanked for anything because nothing happened. That's the role.
Yeah. The goal is for everyone to go home at night.
And to be boring.
Yeah. So that's how I got the job. It also helped. I was the only EMT that applied.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. For a lot of people listening to this that are in the EP field or they want to go into the EP field, that's a pretty valuable skill set to have as somebody that is going to be valued on the team.
It's a lot harder to go to EMT school and pass the National Registry than it is to take a weekend shooting course.
Yeah.
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 So that tells, even now, what we look for is EMTs, because it lets us know, hey, this dude can sit in a classroom for 12 hours,
Yeah.
take a test, retain information, go pass a national test. That's the kind of person I want with me, rather than Johnny Gunslinger who can shoot a target at 150 yards with a pistol.
I went through the experience of going from an operational group and doing shit that, in the night, that type of stuff, to going into EP, high level, Like it was just from going to kicking doors down to all of a sudden being next to the head of the National Security Council in Mexico, right? And I remember seeing the types of people that were there, that were brought on. There were really big guys. Some of them were violently capable. Some of them weren't. You know, there was people all over the place. At the end of it, through the Red Cross, I made probably 8 of them paramedics.
Yeah.
And
That's
I gave
awesome.
them I gave them the opportunity, chance. A few of them turned lawyers, and a few psychologists came out of that as well. But most of them went through that. And I remember the quality of people just changed, you know, because everybody had to up their game now, because these guys are going to school, these guys are going to school, and everybody was getting better and more informed and more educated. So things kind of had to change.
Yeah. What are you doing on your off time that makes you better at your job?
Yeah.
Shooting's cool, but how many EP shootings do you hear about?
No, I mean it's an interesting aspect, and I know a lot of people go into that field with physical attributes already on their side that might be bankable, you know, because
Must be nice.
must be nice. But the ability to talk to somebody about a good parking space, to de-escalate an individual out there, to, I don't know, if you're famous, and this is something a celebrity friend of mine told me this, and I never thought about it in that way. A friend of mine is very, very, very famous friend of mine, who's a pretty cool dude. He told me the aspect of seeing somebody in public approach you and having to come up with is this person trying to kill me? Say hi to me. Give me something with a smile, but it's going to blow up inside of the car. Mm-hmm. Or I don't know, like, what is the intention of this person in the span of a few seconds?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I said, holy shit, I never thought about it from that perspective, how that's probably something that's going to fucking wear on you after a while.
Yeah.
And having an EP professional that can mirror that or match that off of VIP must be hard to find, I guess.
Yeah, it's a hard position to fill, for sure. We are always interviewing, and it's hard to find the right person.
Yeah. What was you go into that EP field. You're learning as you go. It's a cool environment. They want to basically train you as you go. What are you looking at for yourself as far as how can I be better at this job?
For me, it was seeking out people who had experience and talking to them.
Yeah.
Guys like Ryan. Ryan is 30 years of experience.
Yeah, Field works on Instagram. Ryan has worked with many top name band and artists across the planet.
Yeah.
He's a problem solver.
Yeah, there's a reason why you always see me with him.
Yeah.
I see him and I want to see how he does things.
He's a big dude.
He is.
He's capable, but he is smart and he solves shit.
Yeah.
On the fly.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we can't get here. We can't get through here. Oh, we can't? Or you haven't figured it out.
Yeah. He is one of the I love him as a person, hanging out with him when we do classes. If you ever get to see him working, it's one of the most beautiful things, man. Yeah. It's a whole different level.
Yeah.
They just don't make him like him.
Yeah. This like, for somebody that is interested in this type of work, like, what's your advice that, like, as far as them, you say, I've always been a big proponent of mentorship, right? But there's not a lot of people out there that are willing to, like, take somebody on. You know? I've had people like, hey, Ed, how can I learn from you?
Yeah.
Like, just stand back, dude. I'm a shit show.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that are out there trying to, like, seek direction and are looking at EP as a viable thing for them. Like, what's your first piece of advice?
Keep it simple. The beer rule applies always. Like, you want to work with someone that you'd want to have a drink with at the end of the day. Sorry for the Mr. Sober. Sorry.
Oh, it's fine.
But it's someone that you'd want to hang out with at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We call it have a smoke rule.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not looking. The client that you end up working with, you just spend a lot of time with. I try to keep it simple as if I was providing security for my grandmother. How can I make grandma's life easier?
Yeah.
If you want to know what a good EP looks like, it looks like caregiving. Hey, let me get the door for you. Let me help you with your bags. Let me make sure that from the car to where you're going to go sit or stand or do your speech is the easiest route possible. I want to make it simple.
Make sure your chair's not going to break.
Yeah. Who are you going to be talking to? Yeah. What's the fastest way out? If there is a medical emergency, grandma falls and breaks her hip or something, how am I getting her to the hospital?
Yeah.
How do I get the police involved? We are representing a client, and you don't do that by coming in and being like, hey, we're in charge. We're going to do things this way. You come in by being like, hey, we'd like to come visit.
And you think that humanizing service aspect of what you're talking about is available through regular EP training?
I haven't seen it.
It's an interesting thing.
You want a good EP training? Go to retail. Go work retail.
Go work with people for a while.
Yeah, go work with people. Retail. I did retail in high school.
Yeah.
I worked at a costume shop in a rich part of town dealing with very wealthy women and things like that.
Like I've been around in the U.S. and I've seen some people do EP training and stuff like that. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I did some high-level EP work in Mexico for mainly politicians.
Yeah.
The style of EP in Mexico is completely different.
Yeah.
There's a different aspect to it. There's political aspect to it. There's a cultural thing, a machismo thing. Like VIPs won't want to go into the back seat, because that's not who's in charge. They have to put them in the front. And I remember going through training here and realizing that the training was not at all needed. Like I had to relearn shit, specifically around the human side of it. Like like I was working with a high-level guy, and high-level guy had kids.
Yeah.
And they wanted to go out.
Yeah.
And how are you going to let them go out to a bar in Tijuana when it is one of the most violent places on the planet?
Yeah.
So in my natural role, well, they're not going out. I don't recommend any of the bars because they can't go out because it's not secure. And this is my role. And I'm an idiot. That's an idiotic thing to do.
Yeah.
Because you're not paid to limit. You're paid to free them up to do the things they want to do.
Yeah.
Because you provide security. Yeah. So I had to shut that shit off in my mind and come up with 3 options for them to go to. And then out of the 3 options, I had to secure these places for them. But before I was asked, I had to do that. So when they came to me, I already had answers.
Yeah.
And I learned that from seeing some of the older guys kind of perform their duties and their tasks.
Yeah. Go in with a smile.
Yeah.
Talk to people. Talk to everyone. And they'll let you know. That blending in again.
Yeah. The aspect of just making things easier.
Yeah.
And coming up with solutions. That was the whole thing they would scream at us. Soluciones no problemas. Solutions not problems.
Yeah.
That's what people want.
Yeah.
The EP field in the U.S. is it? There's again, like I go around and there's a lot of people in that field that have. Everybody knows each other because it's not a very large community, so everybody kind of knows each other. Is there a school? Is there a specific training program? Is there a certain height requirement? Like what is like for anybody out there that is just now like legit listening to this conversation as far as advice, because it's an interesting field.
A lot of it is all about how you present yourself. I'm 5'2". I blend in very few places. I definitely don't look like your EP guy.
Yeah.
You just have to sell that.
Yeah.
Like that's who I am. I'm not going to try to be anything different. I am very good at blending in. I'm very good at talking to people. That's it. But as far as EP school goes, I would like to go now to some EP schools and learn like what people are learning. That's on my list of schools to go to next year and figure out there are some great things, but a lot of these things only work with that same EP school.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. If you get a bunch of guys going to the same one, they're great as a team.
Yeah.
But how do they fit into a team that doesn't know that particular formations and movements and everything like that?
I mean, I guess a lot of these these programs, you see guns and that's like the bulk of a lot of it. For me, like essentials, as somebody that's not only been through the training themselves, I did training like that. I instructed in that here in Mexico, but also I actually did the job.
Yeah.
Essentials for me are driving.
Yes.
Driving is an essential part of it. Not just driving, but also being cognizant enough and also knowledgeable enough to basic mechanic skills.
Yeah.
Will do a lot for your value as a protective agent
Yeah.
in any urban environment where you're doing executive protection.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of them. Medical management. And when I say medical management, I don't mean just being able to treat a gunshot wound. Basic general medicine aspects of diarrhea, temperatures, how to give an injection, how to inject somebody. I had 2 VIPs once look around a room of all of these people with all this importance and like, who here knows how to give an injection?
Yeah.
And I'm the only motherfucker that raised their hand, right? The aspect of just being an asset in an environment like that. Navigation.
Route planning.
Land nav. Basic land navigation. Knowing how to operate a GPS. Not the one on your fucking phone, but an actual GPS.
Yeah.
Knowing how to operate a satellite phone. Knowing how to do a good recon of a site beforehand. A route analysis. That type of stuff. Essential.
Yeah.
Not that well studied and seen among a lot of people that I've seen kind of do this type of training out there.
It's an experience thing. You either have it or you don't. And there are some people who are like, I think this way all the time. And it's like, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is.
It is. It can be.
It can be.
But yeah, a lot of it, when I get to a new place, because I travel for work. Like I'm international with this client. I get to a town early. Same way I got here yesterday. I walk around. I check my routes. I make a day of it.
Yeah.
I learn how the locals are moving. How can I move?
To have the answers before they're asked.
Yeah, that's huge.
Is a big aspect of selling your work.
That's huge.
Never promising anything, but over delivering constantly.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to time. Any problem, the biggest enemy you have with any problem is time.
Yeah.
If I told you, hey, you have to fight Conor McGregor, you have to fight Nick Diaz.
Yeah.
And you'd
Sniper rifle.
When?
Sorry.
No.
Immediately far away because those motherfuckers will kill me.
You have to meet him in the ring.
Shit.
When?
Yeah.
Tomorrow. No fucking way.
Aerosol fentanyl.
15 years from now. 15 years from now. You could train.
I could train.
Right?
I can lace my bones with adamantium.
Yeah. They'll be older then. Maybe you'll stand a chance. But you stand a better chance by preparing
if you have enough time. Yeah.
There's all sorts of stories where there's, Civil War, guys marching. And they marched all night. They took the high ground. And they were ready for the battle the next day. The battle took and they won. And the commander asked them, why did we win? Did we win when our infantry broke their lines? Did we win when our cavalry showed up? No. We won yesterday when we showed up and took the hill on the battlefield before they got here.
Yeah.
Because we marched all night. Time.
I
get on the ground early. I check everything out days before. That's how I ended up helping you guys out. With the first class that I helped out with at AJ's. I showed up a day early.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'll check out. I'm going to make sure I have a place to park. Make sure that if I get there early, is there coffee, food? If there's a problem, can I go nearby and source a solution? And I was walking around, and AJ, because he's a observant motherfucker, popped out. What the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm here for class. I just want to check it out. He's like, okay. Do you want a drink? And he brought me in, and I was like, yeah, you need any help? And he's like, yeah, I need all this sawdust put out in the backyard before anyone gets here. So when you showed up, I was shoveling dirt.
You were shoveling dirt?
In AJ's backyard, just helping out.
Yeah. The aspect of being serviceable and being of use.
Nothing's below us.
But that's an aspect that people get blocked on sometimes, right? Specifically in the EP field where you're like, I'm not here to hold bags.
Right. I can't do my job if I'm holding bags.
I can't do my job of holding bags.
I'm not going to load in. I got to watch the back.
Or also the other aspect of it, which is the insular aspect that some of these groups have, where obviously we are not trusting of anybody, but we do have to have the ability to to reach out to people and talk to people and figure things out.
Yeah.
You know, so that you can't, again, it's the extremist aspect of it. You know,
Yeah.
very insular, but having ways of figuring out things with other people.
Yeah.
I did a contracting gig in Baja Sur, a parking attendant. That was was very interested in all the shit we're doing. You know, I had some American security there. I was just hired on because I was, local and I knew things that they didn't know. So I basically just rolled with the advanced detail. And one of the things I did that caught their attention is I gave a cell phone, just a burner phone, to the parking attendant. And they were like, "Why would you give a phone to the parking attendant?" It's like, "You'll see." You know, they were like, "Is that a security risk? Are you going to call them when we get here? That's going to be a risk." Whereas, no, it's not about that. Eventually, something happened, and we needed answers quickly. And it was related to a small dog having some breathing issues. And while everybody was scrambling to figure out what the best veterinary service to take a Pomeranian to, I was on the phone with this guy who knew everything about that place and knew exactly where all the rich people took their dogs to. Yeah. So I had a place and everything ready on the phone in the matter of minutes.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, I remember just coming up with the answers, and whoever was in charge was like, "Let's verify this." You know, it's like, "Oh, sure, let's go verify it." But these are the answers. Yeah. Cool. And they're like, later on, there was some friction from that. People don't like be shown up like that, I guess. Yeah. But later on, they were like, "This is standard operating procedure. Now we all carry burner phones. We give out to some people." It is problem solving, real time problem solving, and kind of like figuring things out in an environment like that.
You start creating safety nets for yourself. Yeah. So that when things fall through, that safety net's there, and it buys you a little bit more time. Yeah. Like that's the big thing. You got a problem. How much time do I have? Can I make more time? Can I get more time? Or no? Then I'm gonna make it work within this time. But if you've done the legwork before, it'll work out for you.
It'll work out.
We were on our way. We were working downtown SF, and we had the boss in the car, and we got stuck in the worst traffic. We were already 10 minutes late, and I can see him looking for what we call micromobility on his phone, which is like a scooter that you can reserve, or a bike. And I'm watching him in the rearview mirror, and I see that he got one. And he's like, "I'm hopping out." Middle traffic, hops out, and I'm like, "Yeah, got you." We're about a mile away from the venue. So he goes, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go." And there's only one bike because I'm looking for one too. Yeah. And I'd be like, "All right, we're gonna do this." And couldn't find a bike, so I just let him know, "Hey, in the lobby, they're ready for you. It's on the second floor. There's only one room. Go on up and in. You'll be okay." And I see him take off around the corner. I get a quick view of the route because he's gonna go by way of bike, whatever the bike route says, which follows the rules of the road. Yep. I walk around downtown SF all the time. I know that area. I do advanced work all over there. So I knew there was a parking garage between us and the building. I can run through a parking garage. So I hoofed it. I just got on foot and ran like a 7-minute mile, I think. And I run, and I knew, because I did a really good advance, that the back door of our building had a really cheap lock on it. Yeah. So I run up the emergency exit. I shim the lock with my knife, and I get in on that second floor. I was out of breath, but I'm asking, and I'm like, "Hey, did he get here yet?" And the girls, because I came up behind him, were like, "No, he's not here yet." And I'm like, "Cool." I go to the elevator lobby, 6 elevators, and I'm like, "Oh, there's a good chance he's coming up as I'm going down, and I'll miss him." But I came this far. I'm going
committed.
For it. Hit the elevator, hop in the first one, drop down, and the door is open, and he's about to step into the elevator. And it sounds so cool, and I wish it looked cool in my head. I was out of breath. I was sweating like a motherfucker. I was just, come on, you can come in. Now it's ready for you. And he just smiles because he knows. Yeah. But I knew my routes. Yeah. So I didn't want to be that EP guy, running next to his bike like he's Joe Biden or something. Yeah. But I'm like, I can get ahead of him in the back and at least meet him there. Got him upstairs, got him in.
That's another aspect of it. The fact that a job like that, and any job where you're working with your body, and homicide is an option. Yeah. The self-discipline of training that body and keeping it and maintaining it. Yeah. That's another aspect that Yeah.
One of my partners was like, I would not have run that. Most of my partners are like, there's no way.
There's
I
no
would have
way.
made it because we have a team, Intel team. That's why I do my live location and they watch it. And they're like, you were moving so fast through the city. We thought you were on a bike or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was on foot.
Yeah.
They're like, there's no way.
It's needed sometimes. Not always, you know. I remember this conversation about what we carried in the car for an emergency, you know. An umbrella, you know, rain gear, to change a tire, everything on top, nothing on the bottom. The tire was always on the top. And they're like, why do you carry the fucking tire on the top? Saves you time when you have to fucking fix a flat tire.
Yep.
I remember getting constantly asked, like, why 2 umbrellas? We only use one until we need 2.
You
You know,
know?
if a man that carries an umbrella is an idiot every day except when it rains. You know,
Yeah.
The aspect of that preparation and having some of these things kind of thought out beforehand, I think that's what brings a lot of value to people. Problem solving.
Yeah. Yeah, I know wherever I am, what are all the routes. I try to keep in mind if I got to run, if I got to get in the driver's seat, if I got to get on a bike, how are we getting there? And how are we getting home?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. How am I getting home after all this? It's not enough to finish the mission. I want to go home.
So to not break tradition, I don't smoke cigars at all. I know nothing about cigar smoking. Mostly cigarette smoking a little bit every now and then.
Yeah.
But nothing about cigar smoking. The first time I went to a cigar lounge was with you. we were
Portland.
running
Yeah.
away from
Tear gas.
CS gas, and so we ended up at this nice cigar lounge.
I need something to clear my lungs.
Yeah, I remember sitting down and you asked me, like, you smoke cigars? It's like, no. Why would I do anything that is pleasurable?
Yeah.
Because I hate myself.
Yeah.
You know, so no, I don't. I've never done shit like that for myself. But I said I'm open to the experience. I don't remember what you selected.
Yeah.
But you selected some cigar.
Yeah.
And you not only showed me not to inhale because it isn't weed.
It's
I
not weed.
remember that conversation. So
Yeah.
I had a learning experience.
Let's puff and enjoy it.
What do you look for in a good cigar? Like, there's probably people that are connoisseurs and are seeing us enjoy. What are we enjoying now?
Oh man, these are Padillas. These come from a friend in Florida.
Okay, Padillas.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He a great dude. He makes a great cigar.
What is it about cigars for you? Like, why cigars? Like, what's the enjoyment aspect of this for you?
I mean,
I'm not saying I don't enjoy them. I fucking enjoy them a lot. I just don't do this for myself. I always only when we're together.
it forces me to slow down.
It forces you. It gives you motivation to sit your ass down.
Yeah,
and enjoy something.
And it's just living like right in the moment.
Yeah.
Right now, it for me, it is very good at like cementing a moment and a memory.
Yeah.
We cement it with fire. It almost sears it into the memory. Right?
I remember the first time we smoked was in Portland, and then later on, we were somewhere in California.
Yeah. Yeah. I think AJ's we smoked in the back there.
Yeah. And then you took me to a cigar lounge.
Yeah.
You and somebody else. Who's in this room somewhere.
My girl Shanae. Cigar smoker.
So a dangerous red-headed woman.
Yeah, Code Red Actual. Yeah, she's good.
She's great, by the way.
She's good.
She is. She's great. You guys make so much sense.
Yeah. I found a girl who drinks scotch and smokes cigars.
Yeah.
And comes to classes. We met at one of your classes.
That is pretty strange for me to now be a weird place where people, now matchmake.
That's Vegas.
You guys, both of you, have been really medicinal in my current state of being.
Yeah.
I remember you guys coming out for that class I did in California, helping me out with it, and as an after thing, we said, let's go to the cigar lounge, right? I think I think it was probably a year into my sobriety.
Yeah.
Uh,
We couldn't
and
go to bars anymore.
we couldn't go to bars
Yeah.
anymore. And I remember thinking about December 2022 and seeing in my mind it was so fucking far away. And the distance that I had in my mind was related to the fact that I was going through
You were
sobriety.
going through it, dude. You were going through it.
I was going through my shit. I was alone with it,
Yeah.
you know. I was trying to figure out my own shit and also trying to be there for you guys as well and be positive about that stuff. And I think a big thing for me then was I was really married to my cross that I was bearing.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to fucking, get off that shit.
Yeah.
And I remember both of you forcing me to sit down and enjoy a cigar.
Yeah.
Just sit down.
There's something about it that you can make better decisions. Maybe not better decisions, but you make decisions.
I made a decision for myself that night.
Mm-hmm.
It's a decision of suspension, basically. I had this moment where I said, well, I'm going to wait for something and I'm going to just chill the fuck out for the next year or two.
Yeah.
And just suspend myself,
Yeah.
Not necessarily isolate myself or self-isolate, which I have done a little bit of that, but mostly positively figure out how to be okay with myself and be by myself for a while.
Yeah.
I made that decision. And then you told me that you were about to go embark on a fucking crazy ass endeavor, which I said, I don't know about this, Vince. We're here. I'm here sitting down with you guys trying to get over some shit that happened to me in a place like the one that you're about to go to.
Yeah.
And where danger was a constant and risk was the baseline. And now I'm suffering through all this weird nerve damage related to it and substance abuse. And I see both of you in love and joyous people.
Yeah.
And you have everything that I wish I had. And you tell me that you are going to go to a war zone.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
As we're smoking cigars and I'm relaxed, everybody's here. We're all safe. We're all okay. And you say, "Well, I'm going off to a war zone."
Yeah, it's just casual.
How did you get there?
Oh, man.
How did you get to this place where you were sitting with me and saying, "You know what? I think I need to go to Ukraine."
Yeah.
And share this information with all these people over there.
I think it was seeing the people of Ukraine ready to fight without any tools, without any of the weapons they need.
The videos coming out of
The
Ukraine.
videos coming out, the pictures coming out, seeing men and women training with wooden sticks because they didn't have rifles yet.
Yeah. When it was starting, like on my social media, I would post videos in the morning. This is before you went out there.
Yeah.
Like I think one of the first videos I posted was of this kid in the back of a truck and all of these I don't know, javelin missiles or something like that in the back of this truck.
Yeah.
And he's just driving.
Yeah.
And I posted in the comment and the tagline of that video, war and an invading force can be a reality that seems far, far away from all of us.
Yeah.
But it might have seemed far away for the Ukrainians a year ago, and look at where we are now.
Yeah.
Right? And the women tearing apart styrofoam to make Molotov cocktails.
Yeah.
I had a manual that I sent to the Venezuelan resistance when the Venezuelans were fighting the government, related to armored vehicles and how they would make things to stop those.
Yeah.
And that manual got shared by them, the Ukrainians, and all of a sudden I got a bunch of Ukrainian traffic on my Instagram account, which was pretty fucking wild.
It was seeing them getting ready to fight a battle that they
were fighting for their home.
Yeah. That they had no
aspect of
no reason to win other than it was their lives. And I was like, that's underdog shit. That's the shit I live
And also
for.
mentally, we were in the whole aspect of this is Russia, but not the Russia we know now.
Right.
It is a Russia that we didn't really know what was up with them.
Yeah.
So underdog, and people. We can talk about the politics of the Ukrainian government and all that shit, and how dude. We know there's villains on both sides of that, right?
Always.
But what for me, what caught my attention was the local Ukrainian will to fight. That to me was like very admirable, commendable, and also made me take my notebook out. Because these guys are going to do something that this is what I live off of, is showing people how to do some of these things, and they're going to do it for real. Let me figure that out. On my end, I was like, this looks like a interesting conflict. Let me see if I can figure my way out there.
Yeah.
And I was immediately met with I was going to risk a lot if I went out there during this conflict.
Yeah.
So I immediately realized that it's not mine to go to. And I had a lot of interest, and a lot of people sending me messages about some of the training that I do and some of the need that people had out there. And I remember you saying, well, let me figure my way out there.
Yeah.
And the first thing I thought was jealousy. I felt, you feel this shit. I wish I didn't have a lot to lose. But then I saw you and I said, you have a lot to lose.
Yeah.
You do have a lot to lose.
I do.
Right?
I do. But I have a lot to live for too.
Yeah. Well, that's another aspect of it. How did you? So the war is ramping up.
Yeah.
People are screaming for basic knowledge.
Yeah.
Things are not going that well in certain parts of that conflict for them. How does that communication start?
I started doing my own research. That's it.
You went off to look for your way there.
Yeah. How do I get in? How are other people getting in? Where are they meeting with problems? What are the issues going on? What are they looking for?
Yeah. What specifically do they need?
Yeah.
Instead of what can I give them that's not going to be necessarily what they want.
Yeah. And going into it, I had there was one or two reasons were going to get me in. I was like, if there's a draft, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I'm back in.
Yeah.
They got me. Or if my best friend goes. Best friend Johnny. So we give the universe a little bit of control.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, if one of these things happen, you
take
got
the
me.
wheel.
Yeah. And as soon as I said that, I told my girl, I wasn't sleeping. I was up all night doing research, checking things out, watching everything, watching troop movements. And then I get a call from Johnny. He's like, I'm going to Ukraine. And I told him, we're going to Ukraine.
Whose car we take.
Yeah. And he got with a nonprofit. The nonprofit took me to. And it was...
What were they looking for with this nonprofit?
They were looking for austere medical. And they wanted to go into places where other people weren't and provide medical support, medical care. Great idea for a nonprofit. It was great. It was brand new, getting off the ground, and they did some good work. Yeah. They got me into the country the first time.
So you get into this nonprofit. They have been actively helping and supporting this war-fighting effort out there, training people.
Yeah.
They needed medical management.
Yep.
Information or people that would train their troops in that. And these are not experienced soldiers. A lot of them were not experienced soldiers. It's not like they're coming off the barracks and they're just going to fight a war. There's a lot of these young men and women that have had a life that was completely fucking stopped. And now they're fighting a war for their land.
There's a lot of techies, a lot of people who did engineering, art.
Yeah.
Ran into a Ukrainian ballerina out there. Setting up medical hospitals named Lana. She was fantastic. Setting up remote medical clinics.
So you get you figure out this is your fight.
Yeah.
This is your fight. What's the conversation like with your girl about it?
She knew. As soon as I told her, I was like,
What do you mean she knew?
She knew. As soon as I was like, hey, I'm gonna go to Ukraine. She's like, I've been waiting for you to tell me. She knows what I'm doing.
What's her reaction to it?
She was supportive. She's like, okay, what do you need? She started doing more research, helps dating a lawyer. She started looking up NPR, doing all these things of what kind of legal trouble can you get into.
There was no static as far as don't go.
No,
probably
never that. She knew we can't stop people from doing things. The reason why, one of the things she loved about me is that I go to where people need help, and I help.
Yeah.
And we always knew, like, our plan has always been trying to go to where people actually need us.
You have her doing research.
Yeah.
What's your backpack like? Are you trying to figure out where you're gonna what you can and can't take?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to figure out how to get into the country without getting stopped at the border first.
What's the worry about getting stopped at the border, and which border are you talking about?
Getting into Ukraine.
Getting into the Ukrainian Ukraine proper.
Yeah.
You have to go through where?
So the first time I went through Romania, which was a little bit of a headache. It was rough because there's not a lot close to the Romanian border.
Yeah.
So at one point we thought we weren't going to be able to cross. Two of us got.
So can you describe what that border is like? Is it just basically fencing?
Yeah.
It's not like it's serpentine road, serpentine wire, concertina wire.
Yeah.
And fencing and a border guard station.
Border guards, and then just cars for miles.
Coming in and out.
In and out. You know, at different times. Going in originally, there was an exit out. And going back in, there was
who's coming out?
A lot of Ukrainians were trying to get to safer areas.
What year is this? This is a year ago, right?
Yeah, this was last year.
Last year. So there are a lot of Ukrainian. Are you seeing men and women coming out, or mostly
women
men?
and kids?
Women and kids. So it's not like other conflicts in the past where all the men and everybody's out, right? This is
no, the men were staying.
The men were staying.
The men were staying.
So you make your way there. Did you have a visual of where you're going? Did you do your prep work?
The nonprofit set it all up. They were great. They got us pretty far in, but there was a lot of conflict within the nonprofit about where we were gonna.
Did you get a packing list?
What we could do. We did. Gas mask. They pack for everything.
Yeah.
Ended up carrying way too much gear.
What was some of the first shit you dumped? Basically, is what I'm going to ask.
I mean, I kept it, but I didn't need the gas mask. That took up a lot of room.
Was a worry that the Russians are going to start using?
Yeah.
It's a good worry, I guess.
It is. I mean, you better need to not have it.
Yeah, need to not have it.
Yeah.
What else did you have in that?
I had my body armor. I had my plates.
What was it like traveling with plate armor from the United States all the way over there?
So everyone always tries to carry military packs. Military packs are the worst.
That's what's going to get it opened.
Yeah. I carry with civilian gear. I have a Osprey, the anti-gravity pack. The best thing in the world.
Yeah.
Thing sits high up on my shoulders. Easy to
I want
throw
all the
around.
molly webbing. I want to put my American flag patch on.
I need my No, I look, whenever I travel, I either try to blend in or look like a tourist. And that's what I need. I needed to be a civilian to cross the border.
So you basically...
I hit everything.
Hit everything. Didn't even question about the plate armor?
Nothing. It was hidden deep in my pack, and I'm carrying a regular backpack. I'm here to provide medical support.
You get there... You have a fixer there trying to get you in? Somebody there kind of waiting for you?
Civilians helping us out, moving us around. The lady who worked with that nonprofit was fantastic. She created a network within her scuba diving community that was all over Ukraine. So there were divers that were helping us out, moving us from place to place, which is fantastic.
It makes sense. I mean, people... From that community, all of a sudden you turn into a war fighting setting.
Yeah,
there are people that know ways in and out back roads, get things to place equipment, move around, travel around the vehicle.
Kendra was fantastic at sourcing that. She had such a good network that I had no idea existed.
Yeah.
Of these people who are travelers.
Yeah,
they travel to scuba dive.
Yeah,
so they were good at traveling and planning. Travel
logistics around traveling and moving around.
And Ukraine is a huge country.
For people that don't know how big Ukraine is, I mean, you cross that border. Where's your first stop? And also, when you cross that border, what was checked? What are they
nothing?
looking for?
They let us through. So we were using Ukrainians to move us across the border. So same way like here, if you travel across with Mexican plates, you don't get questioned coming in, but you do get questioned going out. You know.
So they were questioning people coming out. Yeah. So if I was a Ukrainian dude coming out, it's like, why are you leaving?
Why are you leaving? Where are you going?
Where are you going?
Hey, where's that way?
Where's that way? So you make it through the border with your gear intact. Mm-hmm. What's your first stop?
Kremenchuk.
How far away is that from the border?
It was a good 3 days of travel, I think.
And this is far from the front,
So
or are
it's
you seeing?
one of the final safe zones because there's a river
Yeah,
that runs there.
yeah,
We were still taking indirect fire here and there. Everywhere is in Ukraine now.
yeah. When you say indirect fire, just Russian forces out there, kind of like hassling.
Yeah, just shooting mortars or rockets coming in here and there.
And what were they aiming at mostly? Anything.
Schools. That's what was getting hit. Playgrounds. Weird stuff was getting hit, man.
Demoralizing things.
Yeah.
Demoralizing
Yeah.
things.
But the people were moving around the city just fine.
There was just air alarm or anything
All the
on
time. Well, you just got used to
that?
it.
Incoming.
Yeah.
Now, this is, I mean, they're in their conflict at this point when you're out there. What's your first interaction with the military there?
Training. We started teaching
Did-
T-triple-C to whoever we could.
What did they want? Like, what did they ask for? Like, what news were they asking about?
So this is the weird part about Eastern Europeans. Not weird, but different. They don't get sarcasm very well.
Yeah, they don't they don't smile at pictures.
No, everything
like-
is very stiff and straightforward.
Yeah.
So when I started teaching classes, and
Yeah.
they would start coming up and asking very direct questions in a very aggressive manner, to where I thought like, oh my God, they think it's full of shit, or like,
Yeah.
but it's just their way.
Yeah.
At the end, standing ovation. Like they started bringing a film crew for me,
Yeah.
and being like, we want to film this. We're
So we
going
can
to translate
so you
it
can
and
translate
pass it
and
out.
pass it out. Yeah.
What we found out was that I teach a very direct and simple version of it.
Yeah, it's for war fighters. I mean, you only have a certain amount of time to show them what they need to plug a hole, stop somebody from bleeding out.
Not for warfighters, for civilians too.
Yeah.
I told them, bring everyone. Bring
Yeah.
everyone
I
you
mean,
can to this course.
Yeah.
I'll teach civilians. I'll teach children. I'll teach grandmas. Everyone needs to know how to stop a bleed. So I taught in a way for civilians to understand too, which made it easier. The
Yeah.
doctors loved it. Everyone loved it. I ran into a couple straight from the military T-triple-C instructors that tell jokes and laugh and do these things that are great for the Marines. They'll keep us into it all day.
Yeah.
Just give it a good tap. You'd be all right. But then they get in front and they're trying to tell these jokes through a translator, which just doesn't work. And everyone's trying to understand why he's talking about fucking a guy's sister.
Oh,
Because he'd be
yeah.
like, yeah, you don't know who this guy is. Like, you could be fucking his sister, but you got to save his life now. Great for teaching Marines and Army.
But not there. Everybody's fucking straightforward. You can't
like-
fucking. They're not gonna get the
You
joke.
fucked his sister?
Yeah. It's like,
It was
what's
like,
going on? Oh, shit! You gotta stop yourself.
Yeah, and you're just wasting time.
Yeah. What's their equipment like? Do they have equipment? Like, are tourniquets available there? Had the equipment already kind of gone through?
Some of the equipment was there. I worked with a guy my second time around, Mike. He goes by son of a bitch 69 on Instagram. Dude's an asshole.
Yeah.
But he is the asshole you want on your side.
Yeah, he's one of those necessary assholes.
And he was fantastic at sourcing equipment.
Yeah.
He works off Instagram for the most part and just was hitting up everybody.
Hey, we need this. We need this.
We heard you want to donate.
What was
Buy
the-
this, send it here.
What was the main requisite that they had? Like
First
what
aid
did-
kits.
First aid
Like
kit.
a full kit.
Like
a
a
full
full-
pocket kit.
Yeah.
So he would get hundreds of these. He would
Yeah.
tell them, buy this one, send it here. We'll drive across to Poland, or not, Poland, and get them and bring them back. Or he had other people pick it up and bring in truckloads.
Yeah.
So we could teach a course and give them the kits.
Yeah, give them the equipment for them to use.
But yeah, we would get boxes of med kits from China.
Yeah.
Just didn't hold up. Really bad. What was amazing though is that some of the Ukrainians got a hold of the good tourniquets and they started making them themselves.
They started manufacturing
They
tourniquets.
started
themselves.
manufacturing, and they were better than the ones that we were buying.
That makes sense.
They were making them they started passing around the things. They came up with a diagram or however you need to sew and cut and sew,
Yeah.
and they started making tourniquets that worked, and it was fantastic.
Wow.
They bring them by the handful and be like, "What do you think of these? What would you change?" It was fantastic.
You do this kind of first training thing for them out there. Are you getting people that are coming back from the front as well? Are you getting people that were out there doing shit and then coming back?
That was part of the crazy part. More so the second time than the first time. But by the second time, we were in the front, and I was training teams that would come in off the line, come to my course, and then go back out.
Yeah. When you say teams, I mean, this is Ukrainian military now.
Yeah. So at that time, I was working with Billionaire Battalion.
Okay.
It was a private contracted military, a businessman who said, I'm going to start my own military, and we're going to defend
The Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Kharkiv. Kharkiv.
Yeah.
And he's basically with his own money funding
Privately funded military.
Privately funded military, and he's bringing people like you to augment the capabilities of the existing conventional forces there by giving them the training.
And I would be teaching 3 classes a day because he would just keep giving me more and more people.
And are these people coming back from the front? I mean,
I would get guys and I'd be talking about bullet wounds and he'd be like, yeah. So I'd get a guy who would be like, yes, I got shot 3 times last week and it looked like that. Can I see? And show you bruises and everything.
And like for people that are, might have these questions, like for me, I have these questions. And what is their gear like? Do they have what they need?
They've got the most basic of stuff.
When they say most basic of stuff, they have a rifle, a few magazines, plate. Are they carrying plate? Are they wearing soft armors?
Mostly soft armor. Mike was getting them plates, which was amazing. Level 4 plates that were getting donated from, I think, Germany at the time. Fantastic stuff.
What are these groups doing? Are they just fucking doing trench warfare, urban warfare?
It's both. They're fighting in towns, so they're holding down houses. They're fighting in trenches. They're fighting in the forest. We would drive out to the lines to resupply and check in on the guys. Whatever. One day we drove out just to wish a guy happy birthday. The commander. It's his birthday. We're going out there. Let's go. So we hopped in the pickup truck and we'd be driving between houses and trees, and then he'd be like, okay, now is where we go fast. Just because it was open land and it's just open. And he's like, we got to get through before they send the artillery. And I'm there. I have it on my phone. I was trying to, we hit a bump so hard, I hit the ceiling and bounced back down, and it was like that. We get in, sliding in.
Was it small arms fire just crackling off every time they would see anything that was viable to shoot? What about the warfighters there? Are you seeing foreigners there? Or is it mostly Ukrainians at the front?
There were a few foreigners. They've been
from where? Like who are these?
I ran into 2 Marines out there who were doing good work, just fresh out of the Marine Corps.
Fresh out of the Marine Corps, like how young?
24, 25.
They didn't get their war. They went in there too late. They didn't get their war, so like they're gonna fucking figure it out. So they went out there.
One of them just got blown up. Johnson just got his arm amputated. He's friends with Apparition Group. They were the 2 guys out there.
Okay.
Young Marine. Dude, you warned me about this going in. There's not a lot of brown people in Ukraine.
No, there's not a lot. When you went, I had 2 friends of mine that were already out there. Mexicans. I used to work with them here. They were from the army, the Mexican army, and they went to the French Foreign Legion when all of us got defunct.
Yeah.
And after that, they were looking for a fight, so they went over there, and they were treated very differently.
Yeah. Johnson, the guy who just got blown up for Ukraine, he had trouble getting a bus. They just didn't know.
Yeah.
But he's given up his arm for the battle in Ukraine now, helping out there. They're selling T-shirts for him on Apparition Group on Instagram.
And we'll give him a shout out.
Yeah, that'd be great. Can't kill a cyborg is what they're saying now. He's gonna be half Terminator going back out there. We'll see.
That's fucking.
He's got good spirits. We're just he got indirect fire. No, TAC helicopter came through, blew him up. Luckily, one of the medics I worked with was out there with him. Jumped on, applied a tourniquet, and then he had a punctured lung, too. Went through his plate.
Yeah.
And so the group that's been doing the most out there is Dark Horse Vets.
Okay.
They got out there. They've been helping out with the wounded and getting them to the hospitals to get good help.
What are some of these foreigners there, like these guys? What's their motivation?
They just want to help.
Is it help, or is that they also want to fight?
I think there are some that want to fight, but a lot of the guys who go out there just to fight, as soon as you put them into a trench, they're out.
Yeah.
I didn't come here to sit in a trench. I want to be on the front. I want to be pushing through the Russian line. It's not like that. There are some very small groups that are doing that.
Yeah.
Mike, Dan, Saban, Agit, like they're getting it.
Yeah.
But they have been fighting YPG. They've been YPG guys for years.
Yeah.
And they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're looking for other guys like that. They're not taking, Joey Marine.
Joe just shows up
Who
and
just those. But what these Marines are doing is great at close combat. They're training mount. They're training these guys. They need good trainers out there. But the moment they go out there, it becomes a risk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But these guys have their hearts in the right place.
The conflict from the outside, you hear news coming out of that region, and I'm blessed and cursed with friends of different nationalities.
Mm-hmm.
So I have friends that are Russian.
Yeah.
That they send me some of their social media and media that says one thing.
Yeah.
And then I have friends who are on the Ukrainian side sending me news and information on their side. And I can see both of them are working everything's fine, everything's okay, we're winning. Yeah. Both sides are saying they're winning. When you were out there, like, what was your assessment about this whole we're winning aspect of the Ukrainian?
No one wins in war.
Yeah. I mean, we see the decimated towns. We see infrastructure now being targeted as we head into this winter.
Yeah. The Ukrainians want their land back, and they need their land back.
Yeah.
Ukraine is so beautiful. I get it. Driving through, I was like...
Describe it for people that have never driven there.
It's Eden.
It's green.
It's green. Fields are beautiful. Everything is alive in a way that I drove through it, and I was like, I see why people would fight to keep this tooth and nail, and I see why people would fight to take it.
The cities, like, what are the cities like? Some of them are basically first world in some of the infrastructure.
Ukraine is only not a first world country because they choose not to be.
Yeah,
they don't give in to everything else.
Yeah.
They just choose to be themselves because they're pretty good.
Yeah,
they got it.
Yeah,
they get it.
Now you're out there providing medical training, and then you get asked to provide other types of training.
Yeah. So it started off with medical, and then word got out about Sneak Reaper, and they're like, "Oh, you're a Sneak Reaper cartel." Well, a couple of things. They heard cartel, and they're like, "Oh, that's when it clicked. You're Mexican."
Yeah.
I'm Mexican, guys. Perez, And they're like, "You speak Spanish?" Yeah, I speak a little bit of Spanish. Mexican knife fighting. It's like, I know some knife fighting.
Mexican knife fighting.
That's what they associated.
Yeah.
Mexican knife fighting.
Yeah, sure.
And it's like, yeah. And
Mexican judo is like, whenever I get asked, like, is this, Ed, what do you show? You Mexican knife fighting? No, Mexican judo.
Yeah.
You don't know if I have AIDS. You don't know if I have Hep C. You don't know if I have a gun.
That's it.
You don't know,
Yeah.
You get asked about showing them some of the...
Yeah. And I was like...
how to stab somebody in compromised positions, basically.
That's it. So, they're like, can you show us? I was like, if you let me teach medical courses, and if there's time at the end, I'll teach you guys knife fighting, because I see it as opposite sides to a coin.
Yeah.
In medical work, you're trying to keep blood inside of the body. That's a basic medical work. Keep the blood inside the body. In knife fighting, you're trying to take the blood outside the body.
Yeah.
That's it. So it was great to be able to teach them and then show them both sides.
I mean, that's most of the material that I show people. All the stuff that I showed you related to that comes from my experience going through goat lab training, and then having a moment of
and that was it. Of like, hey, can you get me a pig?
Yeah,
they'd get me a pig, and I'd be like, have you guys bring their knives, have them bring what they want, and I could show them wounds.
And everybody, I mean, it's a war setting. I mean, we're guys.
Yeah.
As soon as we get an excuse to carry our shit, we're like, What are some of the knives that people are carrying out there? Like, what were they carrying with them?
Fishing knives,
like
cooking knives,
like Scandi grind kitchen knives, which are,
more knives.
Yeah. Those will work.
Those will work.
Those will work.
What do you cut meat with?
Yeah.
Bring that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hunting knives broke a lot. A lot of the hunting knives are kind of gimmicky out there.
Yeah.
But a couple knives break.
Yeah. I mean, I'm asking, like, I imagine Ukraine, there's a large rural section of it, so I'm just curious about what they were carrying with them into a war.
Very simple, straight knives.
Simple, straight knives, basically fishing knives, tool knives, that's what they were stuffing into their equipment as they went out there. With. And are you getting stories about people using knives out there?
I get a few good stories. I hear a few good things.
You're doing their medical management, keeping people from bleeding out. Austere some of the aspects of the improvising because they're not an equipment rich place.
Right.
And then can we bring a pig after the class?
Yeah. And then so they'd get me a pig, and then guess what we ate for the next 3 days?
Carnitas.
Pig. Yeah. I was like, I'm good. I'll just have the soup.
No voy a querer.
Yeah, they get good pig out there.
Yeah, I mean it's a green a green ass place and a lot of moisture, so I can imagine some of those pigs are pretty big.
Yeah.
So you get this pig up there, and all these Ukrainian military are just there standing around you.
But the commanders loved it because they start to see the change in their men. Because there's always that hesitation. We see it in every class.
Yeah. Like, I mean, shooting somebody with a gun or going to a range and doing fast reloads and shooting a rifle, that's all of that is great.
Yeah.
But when somebody's on top of you, or you when you have something really close range and you have to introduce an object into a body.
So I would tell him, I was like, okay, this is how I'm only going to teach you 2 moves. Yeah. Knife fighting is simple. You need to convince this guy to die. And you do this by talking to him heart to heart, going from center chest to center chest. And if that doesn't work, you go eye to eye. Yeah. So heart to heart, eye to eye. Only 2 moves I showed. And then how to just clean off and keep working until you get it. Yeah. And I'd let them work, and they loved it. And there was always one guy in the class who's like, no, this won't work. Try it on me. And I'd have to go. And Ukrainians are big dudes.
Yeah, they're big farm people.
Big dudes. I have some great videos I'll post up of them, like trying to, I'd be like, all right, show me. And they come in with something completely different than we talked about. And I have to react. And they're like, oh, I thought I was dangerous. Now I see you are the danger. It's like, yeah. So it went around that like there's a Mexican going around Ukraine teaching medical work and teaching Mexican knife fighting. So it became a thing. I would start rolling into towns with Mike. Mike was fantastic at getting me places. They'd be like, you're the Mexican we've heard about. Yeah, that's me. You're smaller than I thought.
This place where people are fighting, tooth and nail, basically, for where they were born.
Yeah.
What is the patriotism, the civilian populace, the support for these fighters like?
Huge.
Is it not? It's not like I don't know. As far as a war, conflict, modern conflict, can you think back on the last 20, 30 years of a conflict where the locals were a type of conflict like this? This is not seen that much, right? Just cause.
Russia is fighting a country.
Yeah.
The country is united.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. We would get into firefights. We'd take contact out on the lines. And after it was over, someone's mom would drive up in her personal vehicle with a pot of soup in the back and feed everybody.
Yeah.
And, have fun storming the castle, boys. And go drive back. Call me when you're ready for dinner.
This is an aspect I don't think people see some of those things. Different people kind of documenting it. But the war, as a war fighter, and all these conflicts that the U.S. has been in the past 40, 50 years, a defensive nation, a nation defending itself. Yeah. The locals basically fighting for the ground that's underneath their feet. The politics are what they are on the top. I mean, I'm not here to tell you that the Ukrainian government is the heroic government, but it is engaged in its own self-interest. I've learned this lesson from my mother long ago. Yeah. Nobody's against you; they're for themselves. And I can see the politics out there the same way. But you're on the ground talking to these locals. You're showing these locals, these war fighters, how to basically get better at defending and also to securing themselves. And I started getting a lot of pictures from the front, messages about people being captured, people being tied up, how they would tie up Russians. I remember getting a kick out of the fact that the Ukrainians were utilizing the same identification tape that they would use for their shoulders to tie people up.
Yeah.
And I got a message from it was a commander of some sort out there. Another friend of mine introduced me to him. It's like, oh yeah, this guy, he's pretty cool. He's doing this type of work, this reconnaissance shit, ninja stuff. And he heard about your training through somebody out there that was advising at some point. Yeah. So can you send him some stuff? And I sent him some basic things, and specifically how to tie people up if you don't have a lot of things there to tie people up. Yep. And I showed him some recipes of how to make zip tie restraints, how to make duct tape actually inescapable, and all this weird shit. And I remember the glee. In the message, it's like, oh, and then he went offline for like a few months, and then come back online, and I started seeing some pictures of the ways they were tying people up. And like, oh, they learned.
Yep, the zip ties changed over there. The way they were doing zip ties, it changed. It was good.
The mental aspect for me is learning this here in the city. This is where I learned it. Most of it I learned it here in the city. Yeah, working, and I learned it from horrible people. Yeah. Deconstructing it, figuring out how to make it into a teachable learning moment for people, but not only showing them how to create the restraints, but also how to get out of them. Yeah. Somehow fucking making my way through the universe and finding you and having a chat outside of a fucking cigar shop somewhere in California. Yeah. Trying to talk you out of it.
You did? Yeah. Yeah.
Looking to your girl, say, hey, help me out. She's like, no, it's fine. We'll figure it out. And I'm seeing some of the feedback of the stuff out there. That's been wild for me. How this is not my information. It's just information. Yeah. And it's how it goes out and influences and changes things. We live in a day and age where you're talking about the sphere of influence that you would tell your people. Yeah. You would reach out your arms, look up, look down. This is your sphere of influence. I think something happened to some of us when we figured out our sphere of influence can be wider than that if we just kind of like really kind of think about the things that we're doing into this world and how we can affect change in a way. I've posted stuff on my social media. Well, the account is dead now, so officially. Rest in peace. That's a Manifesto. Manifesto Radio. That's on.
Hashtag Ed still lives.
Ed still lives. Ed's Manifesto lives. Also, people say Ed's Manifesto olives or still lives. No, still lives. The posting videos of the Ukrainian conflict. I've always posted videos of the Ukrainian conflict with the mindset of look at how these people are fighting for themselves. Yeah. A big aspect of what I show people is how to be dangerously independent and self-reliant. Yeah. And the aspect of danger always has to be there. Yeah. Why? A good man that is harmless is no good to anybody. All right. You want a dangerous man that has that shit under control. Yeah. That's who you want. Going out there yourself. Obviously, this isn't a money making aspect.
I'm still in the hole.
Going out there yourself to this conflict zone to arm these people with knowledge and figuring things out for them as far as, I could do this if I was here. Yeah. You left a lot of your gear behind, basically. You fucking gave some of that gear away as you were fucking leaving as well. I gave
everything I could. It was ironic, too, because the second time I went into Ukraine, they lost my luggage at Amsterdam. Yeah. So I waited for 3 days in Poland, and I was finally like, fuck it. Yeah. We go to war with what we have. Yep. And I dropped into Ukraine, walked across the border with a hobo tactical pen, a single tourniquet, and
a hobo tactical pen. It's a
penetrator.
It's a mechanic. No, it's a zebra pen. Yeah. It's a zebra pen, and somebody that has a company called Hobo Tactical. Yeah. Shout out to Hobo Tactical.
Yeah, he's the best.
Sells these angled bezels that you can put on the tip of one of those pens. Will make them into throw cars, basically.
Yep, it'll work.
It'll work.
So my second time into Ukraine, that's all. I went across the border with that, a single plate in my backpack, because I always carry soft armor in my bag. Just, I don't want to get shot in the back, but if I'm going to get shot, I'd rather get shot on a plate. couple notebook, nothing. And Ukraine
Provides.
I felt like a child of Ukraine, and that became kind of the thing of. Like, I'd be like, well, I'm Mexican. They're like, no, you're Ukrainian now.
Yeah, you're here on this side.
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers are shooting, so it's all of us.
Because that was the thing. Like, you see a lot of the I tried to teach in a Hawaiian T-shirt. I didn't go there to be a combatant.
You don't want to wear the all the camo.
I didn't. When I left the Marines, I kind of told myself, like, I'm never putting on a uniform again. It's it. It's over. I'm not a Marine anymore. Like, I'm not an active combatant anymore.
Yeah.
I'm this, but I got in and they handed me a uniform, and it was like, okay, now I'm really in it.
You're in it.
I put it back in and it changed. Putting the uniform back on changed.
The fact that you're wearing what the people around you are wearing, and you're like all in on it. Mm-hmm. That aspect that must be like weird and mind blowing.
It was weird. I was part of them.
So you're out there. What are the nights like out there? What are the nights like? You go out there. You spend all these times with these people that are coming in and out of a war zone.
It was a lot closer to this. We'd be sitting in bunkers, wet, and sitting around candles eating pig fat. Salo was a specialty. They'd always bring it out. They'd be like, oh, you're a guest. You get salo. It's the worst. I can't do it. I'm sorry, guys.
What can you describe it for people that
it's raw. It's like raw pig fat.
It's just lard.
It's lard. They spread it on their bread, and it's great. Like, I get it. It's exactly what you need.
It's calories.
Yeah.
It's fucking nutrition.
Yeah.
It's fucking
It's
whatever.
great. I think they have a way of seasoning it or like making it so it's good, but I couldn't do it. I'm like, just give me soup, tea. I'm good. I lost 20 pounds in Ukraine.
It's not like you can go to Circle K nearby and just fucking get some snacks.
That's what they brought. They're like, this is what you get. And it was great. But also like a lot of the people doing good work over there. Noram sent me, Milan over at Noram, he's the CEO over there. He found out that I was back with nothing. And he sent me a really good knife and a uniform. He's combat hoodie.
Yeah.
And he provides. He's like, you're doing good work. Here you go. That dude hooked it up. He sent boxes of uniforms, really good uniforms that breathe and allow. Because we know you're out there fighting, you get wet.
You're living in your. If you never lived in your fucking clothes,
it can get bad.
It can get bad. And also, it makes you really invest in quality.
Yeah, his company stepped up and just started sending everything they had over there. It's fantastic.
The death out there.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's not, and it's. I know a little bit about young death, or basically young people dying, and how that kind of like, it's irreplaceable. It doesn't matter who you are, if it's a perceived enemy, if it's one of yours, if it's one of theirs. A young dude dying violently out there because of the decisions of older people. On the top, they want to take and move and rearrange the map. Yeah. What is that like? Is it numb out there? Is it still hurting when people like fall out there?
Yeah, everyone's a brother. Everyone's tight out there. They're so tight out there. They're doing it Spartan style. Yeah. Once you're in, you're sleeping with your brothers. You're there. That's it.
The hero of Ukraine tag you hear a lot. These people dying, and you die and you become a hero of Ukraine. Yeah. Is that what they call it?
It's all of them. How can man die better, right? Than for the temples and the women and the land. There's no better reason to die. There's no good reason to die, but there's no better reason than that. These are men who are fighting for everyone in Ukraine. Everyone is a family out there.
I talked a little bit about this as far as, on my own journey, my own life journey, what I'm after. I said a good death. Yeah. When I say a good death, I mean, when I was 25, I thought I was not going to live to see 30, and I had this vision, when I was growing up and I joined the government service. Yeah. Most of my friends were punk rock kids. Yeah. And there was a song by Dos Minutos, the punk rock song from an Argentinian band. and it was about a guy that would hang out with him, punk rock kid that would hang out with him, and then he joined the federal police. And the song's about him selling out, basically.
Yeah.
And they're mocking him, saying that you forgot about fighting on the weekends with us at the soccer games, and a bullet at night on the street is waiting for you, right? Wow. And my friends would, mocking my life choices would sing that to me, and I always had this vision of this random bullet out there somewhere being either made or stored somewhere or just gathering dust in a magazine in some plate carrier in the back of a car somewhere. Yeah. Just waiting for me.
Yeah.
And, knock on wood, it didn't find me. Yeah. Or I thought, I looked for it. All the horrible shit, all the risky jobs, I raised my hand to go out there and try and figure that out for myself. Just couldn't find it. Yeah. But the whole aspect of not expecting to get to 30, and now you move past 30, you're like, what's a good death now for me? For me, a good death was dying for a cause, something that mattered. Yeah. And most of the causes that I was fighting for, I wasn't fighting for the government. I was fighting for the people that were with me. Yeah. That's
it. The man to the left and the right.
Yeah.
It's a great quote by Herculaneum, Horatio at the Bridge. I think it is, how can man die better than for the ashes of his father, than for the temples of his gods, for the mother of the children. Something like that.
Yeah.
And it's I heard that. It's the story about a man who's going to hold the bridge. That's the last line between an invading army and his home. And they have to blow the bridge. He's got to hold it long enough they can blow it.
Do you think, I hear a lot of anti-violent, anti-war rhetoric as well. For people that are on a front line like that, you were out there. You saw what it was. Yeah. You saw these people not fighting for oil or fighting to protect the interest of whatever in a foreign land and then coming back. These people are fighting amongst their homes.
Yeah.
The good death aspect of it, was it there? Was it present? Did you see these people thinking they were dying needlessly for nothing?
I don't think any of these Ukrainians were going to die. They didn't think so either. They were going to win. Yeah. They live on. That's why. Glory to the heroes. Glory to Ukraine. We have a little bit of a romanticized aspect to death sometimes. I think dying for a good reason, but living for a good reason is what they're out there for. Yeah. They're fighting to live. They're fighting to live their lives. And that's why they're out there fighting. Death is terrible. But I saw a lot coming off the lines wounded and just happy to be alive and ready to go back out there. We had guys that nowadays would get 3 Purple Hearts because they've been shot multiple times. Yeah. They've been hit by indirect fire. We honestly don't get that many bullet wounds coming back. Yeah. A lot of it is shrapnel, TBIs, that sort of thing that's causing a lot of issues out there. That's where they're being used.
Yeah. You go out there, and I'm in contact, random messages. Also check in on you with your, is he alive? Yeah, he's out there somewhere.
Still out there.
Where there, there's moments where you don't have any communication.
Yeah. We go radio silent at night. Mike thought that the Russians were tracking me because we had to move every night. Because wherever we were, when we'd go out during the day, that place would get bombed.
The phones or somebody watching you from afar.
So a lot of Faraday bags.
Yeah.
Right? Or phones just off. That's why I don't have that many pictures and videos. I don't have that much.
Yeah.
Because I mostly just kept my phone in a bag.
Yeah. It's a security risk.
Yeah.
Drones out there.
I didn't see any.
But it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
On both sides. It's not just the Ukrainians utilizing drones.
No, it's both sides.
It's both sides.
That was the weird part. One of the units took us to the back, and they had just lots of drones. And they're like, "Hey, do you know what these are?" I was like, "I don't know. They're drones."
Just a bunch of civilian grade drones that they had.
And they're like, "We don't know how to use them."
They would just. I saw a lot of groups sending drones out there but no training though.
I don't know how to use a drone,
Yeah,
and they'd be
but-
like, "Can you find us someone who does?" I'm like, "We can look it up."
Yeah.
But it's secondhand experience. What we did end up doing was sometimes taking drones and taking them to the black market dealers and trading them for weapons.
Yeah.
Because the black market dealers wanted them,
Yeah.
and they had all the weapons.
That's another aspect of it that's happened recently. A lot of black market arms dealing and procuring, and people, taking some of these capabilities and technologies that are being dumped on this battlefield, specifically things that fire rockets that are worth
Yep.
some money, kind of ending up on the black market.
Yeah.
Free enterprise, private entities moving around out there. How do you know who's on your side and who's not? Like, does everybody just, like, how was that? Like, I can imagine it's a very confusing battlefield.
Everyone's on their own side. That's it. So it's just social engineering at its best. Who has what I need? Who has what they need?
Yeah.
And you start trading. There's a famous Mexican story, The Boy Who Wanted a Drum. Do you know this one? Mom used to tell it to me. It's a long story. It's basically about this boy who wanted a drum, and he's poor. His mom gives him a stick. And it's like, hey, this is all we can afford. He goes out with his stick. He finds a woman who needs to make a fire, gives it to her. She, in return, gives him a piece of bread that she cooked on the fire. He finds a woman with a baby crying, gives the baby the piece of bread, and they give him a coat.
Yeah.
He takes the coat and gives it to a naked man he finds under a bridge who had just been robbed. That naked man is like, I have a stable of horses. Please take a horse. And he takes the horse, and he runs into the prince's wedding party, who's getting married that day. And they have no horse to pull the carriage. So he gives the horse to the prince.
Yeah.
The prince says, anything in my kingdom you can have. You saved my wedding. What would you like? And the boy looks at the band and says, I've always wanted a drum.
Give me that drum.
And he takes the drum and runs home before someone else needs a drum.
a beautiful story.
It's a great story. It's one that stuck with me of like,
Yeah.
I would tell this to my Marines at night. We'd sit around and we'd do little campfire stories. I'd be like, boy who wanted a drum. And I would tell him, it's like, if you need a drum, it's your job. I can't give you the drum,
You have to figure out how to get it.
but I can give you a stick.
Yeah.
And so that became a thing. I'd get my Marines coming up and be like, we need to do this. I'd be like, I don't know. And they'd be like, what's my stick?
Yeah.
This is what I got. You can have this. Go find yourself the drum.
Yeah. I never heard that story, but it's a beautiful story. The aspect of needing something or wanting something for yourself and not being able to get to it quickly or without a lot of hassle or problems, you know, that shit's not worth it, you know?
That's it. But how bad do you want it?
Yeah. I mean, another weird memory I have with you, I'm on top of we're on this rooftop somewhere.
Connecticut. Again,
Yeah.
we did a Highly Unoffended
Yeah.
podcast.
We're standing on this roof. It's raining. It's cold as shit. And I'm enjoying a cigar,
Yeah, as we do.
as we do, on this rooftop. And I'm just thinking about how wild it is that I'm there with you and all the bullshit that I had to go through in my life to get to that moment.
In the
And
rain,
in
on
the
a
rain,
roof,
on the roof,
freezing our
freezing our ass
asses
off.
off.
But it's an indulgence because I need to smoke my cigar.
With Vince, that's what we do.
That's what we do.
When we get together, nothing will stop us.
The moment the moment where you're out there and you have to leave. You know, there's I don't know, again, for not everybody's wired the same, but for me, the hardest part of the job that I used to do was leaving, which is fucking wild to say because I did some very difficult stuff. And by far the most hard thing I had to do was leave. And not because of the power it had or the influence or the things that I could do or the fact that I could carry around all this fucking equipment and hardware or that I was in charge of shit. It was because I was going to step out of a fight and the people that were with me day and night suffered, bled, cried, went to all these funerary services for all the people we had to bury were now going to be strangers to me because I think it happens in a lot of military units and government units and even the police. Or once you retire, once you leave that, you're kind of like out of the loop.
Yeah.
And people are going to be busy in their jobs, and you're going to be a memory. And it doesn't matter how much you want to reach out, stay in touch. The world's going to go on. The war is going to go on. The fighting's going to go on, and you're going to be out of it. You're out of it.
Yeah.
Now, what's it like for you when you're looking for this fight? You know, because you were probably looking for a fight like most of us have. You're out there pouring your heart and soul into showing them how to make people not die needlessly. Maybe showing them how to make somebody die with a purpose. But you're kind of like spending nights out there in the cold with them, sharing stories, sharing pictures of maybe from back home, a little bit of that, anecdotes, being cold with them, suffering. And now all of a sudden, well, I gotta go. What's that like?
Sucks, man. It's such a change. Leaving, crossing that border, seeing everyone still going back in to fight, passing by, just bombed out tanks on the side of the road.
And the white
bombed
noise.
out. I got onto the plane, and I fly United all the time, so I get an automatic upgrade. I'm sitting there in first class with all my shit just because, and I get a text on my phone. And it's one of the units I was with, and they're like, "Hey, do you remember Frank?" Yeah, I remember Frank. 18-year-old kid, tall, skinny.
Yeah.
Right?
Tell us about Frank before you tell us what happened.
Nah, he's
skinny.
a kid.
Skinny.
Kid. First, never been in a fight, never been in anything. And he joined to help.
Yeah.
He's a Ukrainian. And the hole next to him got bombed. And I was like, don't do this to me.
Yeah.
He jumped in and applied 4 tourniquets.
Yeah.
All to legs, and saved 2 lives. Never would have had medical training without it. Dude, I was sitting there on the plane just fucking crying.
It was just, he was waiting for his opportunity.
Dude, and it was
to matter.
I almost got off the plane.
Yeah.
I almost my job gave me 2 months off. I'll never be able to thank them enough. I'm with a really good team of 5 guys for my EP work. And they all stepped up. They're like, we'll cover Vince's shifts. We'll cover his work. We'll step up. We kind of have it set up so that someone can always have a time off.
Yeah.
With families,
If
whatever's
needed,
going on.
emergency.
They also no one else will take time off for these 2 months. The first month, because I did my first month, I went back. My manager I rolled right into work the next day. Like I took as much time as I could. He's like, I need you here on this day. You have to work.
Yeah.
We need all hands on deck. Yeah, I'll be back. Got off the plane when I think I spent 4 hours at home with my girl, and she drove me to work because I was so tired. And I'm like, I don't think I'll be able to drive home.
What's coming home like?
Bro, it's weird because I work in a tech office. I work in a tech office and no one has any idea.
Nothing's bombed out. There's nobody eating pig fat on bread.
It's so loud, you know.
Yeah.
Playing music, playing Beyonce over the speakers. And it's like, my manager sat me down and he's like, tell me about it. And I did. And as soon as I was done talking, he's like, so when are you going back? I was like, how'd you know? How'd you know I was going to ask? And he's like, I can see it.
Yeah.
So he's like, we'll make it work. They all banded together. I worked for a month and they sent me right back. It was great.
Yeah.
It was just, and even then, I asked him, I'm like, there's more. I was praying that this would be over by Christmas.
Yeah.
But
it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
It's still going.
What's your girl tell you when you get back?
She's happy I'm home. That's one of my rules. But she knows, like, my heart's there. And it's hard when you know you're doing good work. You know it's saving lives.
Yeah, for me, those that can't do teach.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to fucking go do shit. I think I still have a fight in me. I don't know. I'm 40. I have one person I'm living for, which is my kid. That makes me think about stuff, you know. It's vulnerability. My heart is outside of my chest, walking around somewhere.
Yeah.
The coming back from some of that, and you know, I ask about your girl because you know she is somebody that's waiting for you.
Yeah.
Right, and that is something that you are risking going out there and doing some of this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Coming back home.
Yeah.
and accepting it as, I don't know, like for me it's always been, and we've talked about this a lot. I don't feel deserving of coming
Feels
home.
wrong.
It feels wrong, and it feels so wrong for me that I've been on the run for about fucking 5 years almost, I think, or something like that, where I'm not, in a single place for more than a few days. Warm bed, your girl coming back, being quiet, and then a world away, it's still going on.
A weekend away.
Yeah.
It's not. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, it's a weekend
I
flight.
could hop on a plane in San Diego
and get there.
15-hour flight, 8 hours to get from Warsaw to the border. 6-8 hours. Take a bus in, and from there, someone would pick me up.
And for people that don't understand, you're not thinking about, I'm gonna go help Zelensky and the Ukrainian foreign policy that you're not thinking about any of that. You're just going off there to the guys that you were with.
Yeah, they're still out there.
They're still out there fighting.
So the groups that I worked with, I just got word to release this because I try to keep it kind of tight, which is why I don't post that much. I try to keep things vague, so that because these guys are still working. This is an ongoing war, but the guys that we trained a couple thousand soldiers in Kharkiv. They've pushed 250 kilometers back. That's what took back Kharkiv.
Yeah.
I know that the teams that we worked with are still pushing.
Yeah.
And the great thing is that I told them, what I'm teaching you now, you teach every fucking person you meet. You can. I would open up my class. I tell them like, you're going to kill. You're going to kill soldiers.
Yeah.
Chances are you won't remember the soldiers you kill. What you will remember is if you lose one friend.
Yeah, that's gonna stick with you.
To something you could do. I'm here to keep you from remembering that face every night when you try to go to sleep.
You having gone out there, knowing and hearing things, what do you think these next few months are gonna mean for the Ukrainians?
They're gonna keep pushing.
Yeah.
They're not gonna stop. They're taking it all back, whatever it takes. The country will not give up on itself, which is amazing.
Which leads to people fearing that the Russians are going to cut their losses, and this whole threat of a tactical nuke of some sort being detonated. Is that something that's on people's minds out there, or is it something we only see on online when we look at some of the people spinning this war? Is that an actual worry that they have?
I didn't hear about it out there. It's one of those things that
yeah.
Once it's a problem, it's all of a sudden it's not a problem.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about anything ever again.
As far as the people fighting on the Russian side, what did you get? Were they, the Chechens are out there. The Wagner group is out there. The Russian SF guys, FSB people are out there apparently. New conscripts coming into this war that looked like they should be in a retirement home and not in a war zone. Like, what was some of the talk as far as them, as far as an enemy?
Not to give them too much credit, but any combatant, anyone carrying a gun out there is someone to be feared.
Yeah.
I think one of the worst things we can do is, make fun of the enemy or make jokes about them.
Yeah, dehumanize them.
They've all got guns. They all can shoot. It is a battlefield out there. I think right now I'm hearing reports of roughly in some of the heaviest fightings, each side is taking 200 to 400 casualties a day.
Yeah.
It's just dead people, man.
Yeah.
It's just people dying for land, for their families, for a fight.
For a country that's,
that's not supporting them. I've seen a lot of the videos of Russian soldiers going home and losing limbs and getting a card.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for your service.
Yeah, and the apparent strength of the Russian army has now been kind of laid bare as far as what it actually is. There's no more bluffing around it.
The regular army is whatever for the most part, but Wagner Group is still causing some trouble.
Yeah.
They're not someone you want to get into a building with.
Yeah,
and that's where they're at right now. But I've seen a lot of casualties coming back from Wagner Group.
Yeah.
Which is good, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, everybody's a villain in somebody else's story.
Everyone's a villain.
Are you going back?
We'll see. We'll see if I can get the time off work. If I can take out another credit card, I'll go. It's been rough on my credit, but it was worth it.
If people are looking for ways of supporting this,
Yeah.
how do you like? A lot of my friends that are knowledgeable and have a skill set and don't have the constraints that I do.
Yeah.
Have gone out there and have done their thing. A lot of people ask me like, who do I donate to? Like, who should I support?
Yeah.
Who do you, off the top of your head, or who you recommend people kind of support to?
So this is the crazy part that I didn't see a lot of the nonprofits out of the front. I think the people doing the most work that are a big corporation would be Dark Horse Vets. They're doing amazing work out there. They've got a great reputation. They're doing amazing things.
Dark Horse
Vets.
I
have a friend his emergency contact on his phone is Dark Horse Vets.
Okay.
He's like, don't call my family. They can't do anything.
I'll post a link to them so people can kind of
they're
like.
great. Remote Medic on Instagram is doing some great work.
Okay.
The thing is, just like me, this war was kind of funded by Instagram. Like it was guys like me who were like, I don't have an NGO. You don't get a tax write-off if you give me money.
Yeah.
But I'm going out there. I'm booking a flight and taking as much medical equipment as I can. And everything goes into Ukraine.
Grassroots,
social
media.
Son of a bitch 69. It's Mike. He is one of the best dudes I met. We would just keep filling up his he would find corporations that said, "Hey, we're going to donate." He'd be like, "Where is it?"
Yeah.
"Oh, it's stuck in a warehouse in Poland." "All right, I'm sending someone to the warehouse." "Oh, are you sure?"
Yeah.
Yeah, someone's coming right now with a truck. We're taking everything.
Making shit happen.
Yeah. And he was just getting things. So Son of a Bitch 69 is a great dude to talk to about who to help. Remote Medic is great. He's working out in Odessa, and he's working with a lot of the churches and stuff out there to send out supplies. He's been organizing and doing great stuff.
Where do you see this? It's hard to kill a nation like that.
They will live on. They're fantastic. They won't give up.
A lot of people were betting on the winter, and what I've seen recently has been a massing of Russian troops on the front line, a cohesive front line being formed, tactical retreats. And again, I just watch a lot of History Channel, but what I see on the Russian side is they are going to put all the pressure they can on infrastructure in the Ukraine because they don't want to level the Ukraine. They want the Ukraine proper.
So that's another dude who's doing God's work. God's work on a whole nother level I think it's Bring Me the Swampy. Babe, can you look that up? It's Swampy. He's doing EOD work out there.
Okay. That's crazy.
It's crazy. He's busy constantly. His team's constantly getting bombed. They've lost multiple vehicles to shellings, but he's out there because a lot of the shit out there is booby trapped.
Yeah.
And we'll see the Ukrainian soldiers.
What are they booby trapping?
Ammo boxes, grenades, leaving grenades. They were going through houses at one point, taking towns back, and they were finding a grenade with the pin pulled under someone's mattress.
Yeah.
In a baby crib.
Yeah.
Just waiting for the family to come back. And what's the first thing you're going to do is make the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, babe, did you find it? Bring me the swamp.
Okay.
Bring me the swampy.
Okay.
Yeah. He's fantastic. He's taking donations and he is running teams out there and teaching them how to do EOD work. That's huge.
The West is kind of waning on its support. You can see it. The West shot itself in the foot with all this green energy, renewable stuff, and now we are enslaved to petroleum and natural gas and all this stuff. You can see that happening. It's demoralizing, and I can see that kind of like weighing on the war effort out there.
We ran into gas shortages out there. They were starting to ration gas, which made it harder to move across the country.
I don't know. My worry is that eventually everybody's going to forget about it. You're not going to see that on the news anymore.
I mean, that's part of the infrastructure attacks is not having electricity at night, not having running water. All of a sudden, people are taking less videos on their phones.
Yeah.
The information's not getting passed around.
Yeah. The war is still going on. It doesn't matter that you're not seeing the viralness of the videos that we had. I make it a point to share conflict videos of that war constantly on my social media, even though it fucking gets to be banned. But for people wanting to kind of keep track of it on news agency sources, Do you have any of that?
It's hard, man. It keeps going away. It's hard to tell. I follow a lot of Telegram channels that just post videos. They're hard to find the right ones. It's hard to know.
I'll share some links when you have them for me.
We'll send some links.
It is a weird feeling to kind of like get involved in a fight like that, somewhere else. Yeah. And then having a dog in that fight now, a weird spiritual dog in that fight. Yeah. But it is kind of it is an opportunity for people out there that have never been in a fight, that have never had a cause, that have never seen something like that, a nation fighting for itself. Yeah. It's an opportunity for people. A lot of people are looking at it as that, I guess. And a lot of people have died. Foreign fighters have died out there.
Foreign fighters have died.
And people have come back changed, mangled, and it's a war.
I think it is the lack of resources that's getting them, though. The territorial defense force out there is what's keeping it alive.
Yeah.
But we'd go past the lines, be 30, 40, 50-year-old dudes in a line. We'd find 5 guys in a hole. Hey, how you guys doing? What do you guys have here? 2 grenades and 1 rifle between 5 guys. And it'd be like, what? And they'd hold the line. What's out there? Oh, the Russians have been driving by with a tank.
Damn.
And their big thing is, we made a joke. We're doing lost and found for the Russians because they keep losing weapons and equipment because they're running away or just not around to collect. We'd pick it up and we'd return it 1 bullet at a time. When I got into Kharkiv and they handed me a rifle, because I was not planning to carry a rifle.
Yeah.
And it finally got to the point where it's like,
carry a rifle.
Yeah, carry. And
what'd you get?
They gave me an AK-47, and
that's enough.
And I was like, oh, thank you. Where'd this come from? They're like, we pulled it off of Russian yesterday.
Just check those rounds. You don't want any of those booby trap rounds.
Yeah, yeah. So they're using everything they can, and it's Ukraine's providing.
Yeah.
They're figuring out. Ukraine is figuring it out, but it's hard. The tourniquets they're behind because it's all trial and error.
It is definitely something that's going to define our, history as a world, as a planet right now.
It's
everything's closer. You can see it on social media every day. It's like everything's like here.
It's changing what makes a soldier, what makes a medic.
Yeah.
Because now it's not like they're not defined by their equipment out there. They're defined by their heart.
Yeah.
And they've got so much heart that they're making this equipment work. It's amazing.
Fucking amazing work you're doing. If people want to find out more about you, what you're doing, what's going on, where can they find you?
I'm Way of the Loser on Instagram. I'm there. I respond to everything I can. I'll help out if you want to make donations. I'll put you give you the right people. The people that I work with are very upfront about everything.
And you went out there to verify.
Yeah, and I seen it. Remote Medic has been collecting cold weather gear. People are out there fighting in vans, flip-flops, you know, and
it's fucking
soaked up to their knees. No cold weather gear, and they're doing great. They're still fighting.
Way of the Loser on Instagram. If people want to find you.
Yeah. Son of a bitch 69 on Instagram for Mike. Mike is the guy to talk to. Okay. He'll make things happen.
You're doing great work. You're providing an interesting and amazing example for some people out there. Even myself, I've learned a lot from you as well. Last time we were together, we smoked a cigar, chilled out a bit, talked about stuff. Told you, hey, next time let's have a conversation on camera. So here we are.
We're here.
I meet a lot of people out there. Some of them that I've met have come through as students and have become friends in cadre and people that help me out with things. So you've shown me a lot, specifically this. As my moniker is stillness is death.
Yeah.
I can't stand still. I'm always running. But you've made me sit with myself a few times when it's been really hard. So thank you for the lessons on stillness. Thank you for coming out here and doing this for us.
Thanks for having me, brother.
You're about to experience some of my New York steak tacos.
Hey.
I'm gonna make some for you and your girl. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity for people. You know, I don't do that a lot for a lot of people. I think you kind of earned it.
That's all you have to do, right? Go to Warzone.
Yeah, go to Warzone, do a bunch of weird influential shit, and just fucking figure shit out. This is all it takes. So if anybody wants some, you know what to do. Thank you so much for coming out and doing this, having this conversation, and thank you for the inspiration as well.
Thank you for keeping the conversation going. People need to keep talking about it. People need to keep posting. It's rough that it's getting banned. Yeah. The information needs to keep being spread, and we'll keep talking about it. We'll keep making things happen until the war's over.
If you're out there and you're listening to this, you are the resistance. Thank you for coming
against
out.
The wall.
Thank you for coming out, man.
Yeah, my pleasure, bro.